I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and that other Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. About Kenner's superpower is the history of Toys R Us. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Tokusatsu in America, of Goosebumps. Voltron, Defender of the Universe. History of Saturday morning cartoons. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. History Rich Pale Kids. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. History, The Real Ghostbusters. History of Robotech, Part 1. Dungeons and Dragons animated series. Thundercats of Gargoyles.
Printed Comics Wellspring. And yeah, this is printed with Comics Wellspring. Came out beautiful.
High quality stuff. People think it's fantastic. All the books that you see at my table are through Comics Wellspring.
As a dark new power rises from the shadows of New York, so does a much darker power return to the city's streets for revenge. One of the most terrifying villains in the history of comics is back, and more deadly than ever. In association with Mellow Fellow Trading, visionary artists Ken Berube and Scott McFarlane have teamed up to create a jaw-dropping, officially licensed exclusive variant cover for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Shredder #1 from IDW Publishing. This spine-tingling masterpiece is available in a limited number only at Plastic City Comic Con. Don't miss your chance to grab this radical collectible that's sure to be the ultimate prize for TMNT fans and collectors alike. Buy your copy while they last and have it signed on Saturday, August 23rd from 10 to 5 p.m. at the Lemon Stir Doubletree Hilton. Tickets are only $10. And as always, kids 12 and under are free with a paid adult. See you there, and beware the Shredder.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and promoter for the Plastic City Comic Con. With me, as always, Johnny C., creator of Sartana, the comic, the pond, and I messed it up. Sartana, the pond, the comic, and for Roger Morocco. Yeah.
For my good cousin Roger Morocco.
Exactly.
Who's home with the flu. I hope he feels better.
Oh, good. Yeah. We'll
or con crud. Two conventions in a row did him in.
Yep. That'll do it.
Yep.
And then our King of Tangents. What was the new one?
I was going with either Time Lord of Tangents. Either Time Lord of
Untimely
Tangents
Lord of Tangents.
Or Untimely Lord of Tangents. One of the two.
Untimely Lord of Tangents. Harry G.
Yeah, because
How's that? We're all out of sorts tonight. Johnny just got back from a con, and I just literally got home from work. What's that?
I still feel like I'm on West Coast time.
Oh yeah,
spending 2 weeks in California. I still feel like I'm not fully adjusted yet.
Oh, craziness!
I know.
Well, we're gonna sidetrack all our banter.
We're gonna wait for that.
Yeah. Let's
because we have two great guests tonight.
Absolutely.
One we met at ICR 3 earlier this year, which we can talk about when we bring them in, and then one we're meeting for the first time tonight. So we got Dean Haspiel, Eisner and Emmy Award winning or nominated creator. And we got Vito Delsante, who is also a writer, letterer, and editor. So without further ado, you want to bring these guys in, Johnny?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, let's start with Sir Dean Haspiel. What's up, Dean?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Dean.
Good to see you again.
And thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Absolutely.
I see two of your faces, and all I can think about is hamburgers.
And then Vito Delsante. What's up, Vito?
I'm always thinking of hamburgers.
Yeah, Vito, have you heard the story how we met Dean? Johnny, would you like to tell this story?
Yeah, I saw this place on like a Travel Channel show that was supposed to be like the original hamburger in the United States. So I dragged poor Keith and our good friend George O'Connor and Keith's wife Amy, who doesn't eat rare red meat, to this burger place.
Vegetarian, basically.
Yeah, basically a vegetarian, to this burger place so we can try out this kind of novelty style burger. And honestly, I didn't know who Dean was when he came in, but he sat down. We're just kind of, kibitzing, talking back and forth. And, one thing led to the other. We figured out, who everybody was, and we all realized we're all comic creators.
And Johnny, I think you, or maybe Keith, or maybe the George O'Connor that you guys know, me and Vito know a different. I shared a studio with a different George O'Connor.
There's 5 George O'Connors out there per George O'Connor, and a few of them work in comics. So there is a lot of actual confusion. George was telling me about that, actually.
Yeah.
No kidding.
But do you remember the burger, this original burger? I'm trying to remember. Like it was a very particular type of burger, right?
Oh, I could describe it in detail for you.
Yeah, right.
Vividly.
You were videotaping, I think.
We have a video.
We made a video. We made a video out of it. But ideally, this burger is like white bread. It's it's not your traditional burger bun. It's a slice of white bread. It's a thick burger patty that's maybe like 3/4 of the way cooked, so the thing's bleeding, right? And it was cooked with a little bit of onion, so like that onion was kind of grilled with it. It's put into this very old cooker, like sideways in a press, so all the grease kind of drips out, and then you get it with cheese, and it's served by Abe Vigoda.
and Vito, what's really cool about this place was you look at the menu and you're like, where's the rest of the menu?
Right.
That's amazing. You get your burger this way or that way, and then I guess potato chips.
Potato chips salad. Or potato salad, no fries. Right. They didn't do anything like that. It was just potato chips, potato salad.
Yeah.
Well, very basic kind of place, but novelty. I felt like it was a novelty thing, but in turn, it brought us all together. So for that,
we
can I ask you a question about the advertising before the show started?
Yeah.
So at one point, there was something about a villain, like the most fierce villain ever in comics.
Oh, yeah.
And then it says, done by the guys at Mellow Fellow Trading. I'm like, what kind of villain is created by some dudes from a joint called Mellow Fellow?
He's very subdued,
right?
He must be really spooky.
Spooky by way of hippies.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So I just want to throw out, if you're into like burgers like that, I had to look it up because I haven't been there in years, but I used to go to this place off of St. Mark's Place called Paul's.
Okay.
And they do have fries, but the way they make their burgers, I swear to God, they take like a slab of meat, not meat, ground beef.
Yeah.
Put it on the grill with butter. Of all things, it'll kill you. And then they put like a pot lid cover over it and they just let it simmer. You know that place, Dean?
All right, so now you're talking about St. Mark's in Manhattan, right?
Yeah, like it's right around the corner. It's on 3rd Avenue actually, but it's off of St. Mark's.
So there was maybe what you're talking about. I don't know if I've been to that place, but there was one I want to say near 14th and 8th but you had to go down a couple of blocks, and I think the street was like a triangle type of split. Anyway, there was like a bar / burger place that did the bowl over the burger, and I've never had a juicier burger in my life.
Because it steams it, right? So it does a little bit of that. And so it's funny that you say that with the butter on the burger, because we have a place here in Boston called Tasty Burger, and they had something called the Vermonter, which was like stuffed with like white sharp Vermont cheddar cheese, and it was served with a pat of butter on top, and it was like you said, heart stopping, but so good.
There's another place, like if you're ever in New York, in Queens, that I used to go to. It's called the Jackson Hole Diner, and it's famous because if you remember the scene where in Goodfellas, where Jimmy and Henry find out about Joe Pesci's character getting shot, that's the diner, like that that's the Jackson Hole Diner. So they used to make a burger that my wife and I would get because we lived right around the corner, and that was on an English muffin, and it's like a bigger than normal English muffin, like it's sandwich size, and it was so good, bacon, cheese, and just burgers.
That sounds
Carrie Sanders just wrote in and
did you see that? Yeah.
With peanut butter, and I was going to say, have you guys ever had a peanut butter and butter sandwich?
My grandfather, he would eat it all the time. It never made sense. It was, because he was blue collar Italian American. I don't know if it was just something generational of that era, but peanut butter and butter. I'm like, are you sure peanut butter and butter and not jelly? No, peanut butter and butter.
Isn't that what Elvis? What that sounds like an Elvis death sandwich, right?
Elvis,
but I had it, and you would think this is going to be disgusting, and it's actually better.
Pretty good.
It's kind of insane, but probably not good for you. Anyway,
peanut butter on a burger, 3 Penny Tap Room in Montpelier, Vermont.
Always put butter on my peanut butter sandwich. That's awesome.
Do you know there's something funny? Like a couple of years ago, many years ago, I had a couple of friends that worked for Stan Lee. And they were looking to possibly create content, like video content. And I said, I have this idea, and like just the way Johnny's talking about burgers, like it just made me remind me about this. I had this idea for like a travel show that was just based on comic book conventions. And it was, what kind of food do you get at the convention? So like we would the show was supposed to be the con food, like not in the convention, but like around the convention. You do an interview with like a Jim Lee who loves, at the time, when I used to see him a lot, he would always beg, can we go to White Castle? So I would take him to White Castle and stuff. Or like a Jimmy Palmiotti, talking about like Brooklyn pizza and stuff like that, like L&B Spumoni Gardens or whatever. But I still think it's a valid idea for a show, but
who could be the host? Who could be the anchor for that show?
Who's that?
Howard Chaykin.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Just today, Howard Chaykin was texting me about where we're eating Friday night at Terrificon next week, because all he cares about is where he's going to get great food.
I love that.
And who's going to be part of the dinner. And we do this at Baltimore Comic-Con. Vito, you'll be a part of that. The thing about Howard though is he has expensive tastes, and yes, he might be hanging out with some legends, but then there's like broke ass cartoonists like me that I'm like, I'll just take the bread. I'll just have bread.
What would the name be of the show, the travel show, the travel eating show?
Comic Connoisseurs.
Maybe like.
I love that.
Like
Comic Connoisseurs.
I was thinking
it's a great name.
Carnivorous.
I was thinking with the honest and the honest titles, Comics and Cholesterol.
That's great. Yeah,
I mean,
that's a little bit more accurate, probably too.
I mean, you want to see the saddest short stories in the world? Just videotape a Comic-Con bathroom.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nightmares.
I didn't mean to bring it that low, guys. We're gonna go high. We're gonna go high.
I love that idea though, and if I were to do it, I'd bring everybody to my favorite sushi joint in San Diego,
which is
called Sushi Oda.
See, you just came back from Comic-Con, right, Johnny?
I did, yes.
So,
I go to the sushi joint every year. The kind of a long story to try to shorten it down is that one year I went, I took a photo of a special that wasn't normally on the menu, loved it. Went back the next year. I was like, I want this. They're like, we don't make that normally, but we need preparation. So the following year, I emailed a week in advance. I was like, wow. Could you please make this? So when I met the chef Oda, I go, is there a name for this dish for the next time I want to order it?
Johnny
he asked
C.
me what my name was, and he goes, it's
Right.
Johnny C special roll. So now I go back every year for this dish.
Wow. You have a dish
awesome.
named after you? That's amazing, man.
Ray Anthony Height. Do you guys know who Ray Anthony Height is? He's an artist of Midnight Tiger. Also did some Star Wars stuff. You should have him on the show. He's great. But he and I have this, whenever I go to San Diego, it's very, Dean was very jealous after I told him about this last week. There's a burrito truck in the back. So you have to go to the back of the hall, go down the steps. The steps are like this. They're super steep. And you go down and there's a burrito truck. And it's like the greatest, fattest burrito you've ever had. And nice. For creators, we try to eat cheap. And you're eating this. This is the only thing you're eating, until you go out to dinner or something. Bingo. And that's like the best thing. And Ray Anthony Height's the reason why I know about that. Another person I would have on Comic Connoisseur.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Those are the kind of secrets you want to know.
Today.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, the rookie thing to do at a Comic-Con, and I've been there many times, I'll be there again, is to go to a Comic-Con and wait to figure out where to get the food. Like, because, obviously, you don't know the place, so you want to get there. Like, even when I go to a Terrificon this weekend, it's at Mohegan Sun, which is a, people gambling. It's 24/7. You don't know.
We'll be there.
Oh, you'll be there.
Yeah, me and Johnny will be there. We both have.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So like,
see you.
Yeah, I mean, and then Mitch Halleck likes to go to this like rodeo bar.
Yeah,
where there's a horsey that everybody rides, and then women dancing on the bar. Like it's nuts, right? But what the hell, right?
This weekend.
Well, you know what me and Johnny figured out last year, and hopefully none of the creators don't hear this.
Don't give away the secret, kid.
We're not how can we go there. Johnny, how can we say it without giving away the secret?
I've discovered not only just for Terrificon, but for other shows is to explore a little further out. Don't be afraid to go a little bit further out.
Yeah, that's
in the case of San Diego, one of the best fish tacos I ever had is in Ocean Beach at the South Beach Bar and Grill. It's just absolutely amazing. So Lucha Libre, another one in San Diego. That
place is great.
It's so good. Yeah. And wrestling themed and all sorts of awesome stuff on the walls. But when you explore a little bit further out, not only is it less expensive because you go right outside of a convention center, they're going to get you. And then the other part of it is that you find something like a good mom and pop place, and next thing you know, you're eating something unique and special. Even in the barrio just outside of San Diego, there's a place called Las Cuatro Milpas, and it's like 4 grandmas, and you need a translator at the cash register, and it's just the best.
We had a breakfast one time at San Diego that was in it wasn't necessarily in Gaslamp, but it was just outside.
Okay.
I forget. The weird thing about San Diego is I can you can sit me down anywhere near the convention center, and I can walk and find it. Like the place that I'm thinking of,
just by memory.
But it was like a lunch counter that was just like a glass, front, like a door and stuff. And you just walk in and just, order breakfast. And they only have 3 things for breakfast, and then they close. And it was $4 or something. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's really reasonable, actually, in San Diego.
I mean, the last time I went was with Dean. What was that? 2 years ago? 3 years ago, something like that. So
something like that, yeah.
In between the convention center, there's a shipyard, just maybe a mile and a half down, and so you'll see a lot of those food trucks and cheaper eats for these workers that are going off to work at the yard all day and then come back and get some cheap food.
Yeah, awesome. Well, to get back to comics,
get back on track.
Why?
Well, there's a question we always ask guests that are on the show for the first time that we love to find out, and I'd love to hear both of yours. Is like the moment, the comic that you read, or you know, if you're watching a cartoon or a movie or something, that moment that clicked with you, like, I want to do this, like, I want to be a creator. Do you guys remember what that was for you? I mean,
it could be. I don't know that anything ever wanted to make me a creator until because I remember like Spider-Man and his amazing friend seeing the X-Men episode and then running around the corner to get a Chris Claremont X-Men.
Nice.
I remember, you know, Dean and I talk about the Superman movie. Like the night that I saw it, I got my fingers closed in a door at my grandmother's house. So like I remember pain with that movie as much as I love that movie.
Yeah.
But I don't remember ever. I didn't think I would ever be in the comic industry. You know, I was really more of a actor / screenwriter, and then at some point somebody asked me on an AOL message board, hey, like I put up, you know, hey, I can script doctor scripts, you know, and screenplays. And they're like, would you mind looking at this? And it was a comic book script, and that was kind of the beginning of it.
Oh, really?
So you're looking at 95, 96, I think, you know, like when that started happening. So
who was it that wanted you to, who do you remember whose script it was? That
a guy named Alan Moore.
Yeah, it was Dan
Was
Slott.
it?
No. Guys, I can't. No, I don't think he's even in the industry. You know, that's the weird part.
Okay.
So it's nobody that you would know. It's just that, you know, like it was very DIY. So
you gave one note to the script. You said, "Become a plumber."
No, I did a real rewrite over it, and then he was like, "You want to just write this?" And I just weirdly, I just said, "All right," you know. And I didn't know how to write a comic book script, and so this is very early AOL days. There was a like a message board, and it's still up there somewhere, of Kurt Busiek having they transcribed a class of his where he talked about writing, and like I still write that way, like I still write my scripts the way I learned from that. So that's kind of an odd thing. You know what? I could say that Starman by James Robinson was probably the thing that influenced Stray.
What a great run!
I mean, if you've read Stray, you know it's about fathers and sons. So yeah, I would say that's probably the thing that made me want to make a comic. Yeah, even though Stray wasn't the first comic I ever wanted to make, you know, like it was a different one.
What kind of acting work did you do?
Sorry. Not very much.
Sorry. Not very. Oh, okay.
But although Vito has a very funny story that we're going to share on our podcast someday.
Yeah, I can't do that on here. It's good and it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right on. I'll have to listen to hear what this story is.
Makes me cry when he tells me the story. I don't know if I actually had a comic book that like that eureka moment, you know, kind of thing. But I do remember at age 12 deciding that I was going to become a comic book artist, which made me otherwise unemployable. Or any job I took, I didn't like try to rise up the ladder because it wasn't comics. You know, it was just a way to pay.
Dude,
bills.
I was like that too. Like, because when I was young, I used to draw comic strips and stuff, but like, and I never paid attention. I took all the easiest classes so I could just, and when I was in school, all I would do is draw in school. Like, and I felt the same way. Like I'm not learning this because this is not what I want to do. Like I had that same kind of stuff, you know?
But I did remember, like, I was such a fan of the Fantastic Four, which is my favorite comic book series if I had to pick one, you know?
Okay.
And I decided that one day my dream was to pencil the Fantastic Four someday. And then that was when I was living in the Upper West Side, and the newsstand across the street from me was in front of a synagogue. But that newsstand, and I'm not religious, but that newsstand was my church, because every week new comics came out, and it would be Marvel and DC. I never really picked up Archie, and then the occasional someone's an indie comic somehow snuck in there. But I then went down to a place called Soho Zat downtown. And it was like records and ephemera and all this stuff. And there was a bunch of other comic books. And I discovered Chester Brown's Yummy Fur and Harvey Picar's American Splendor, right? Okay. And I was like, oh my God, comics can be about anything. It can be about your life. You can make up your own characters in a universe. It doesn't have to be characters that are already established, like the Fantastic Four or Superman, And I think that's like, ultimately, I thought, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. But I also didn't know how to do it, of course, and then you're looking at the names of the people in the assembly line of the credit boxes, who makes these things. And then I had heard of comic conventions, though I didn't really go to a lot of comic cons when I was younger. I regret that, because I would have been able to meet, my hero Jack Kirby probably, so I didn't get to. I never got to, but I did make it a mission that as I grew more into being a professional, is to either write a letter to someone that I admire and thank them, or when I see them, shake their hand and say thank you, and try to have a little connection like that. And then, eventually I did draw Canon Fantastic Four. I've got some pages in the Canon FF, and then I did a short story that I wrote and drew for a YA Marvel comic that has the Fantastic Four in it that I wrote and drew. So
wow.
Awesome. I did a Thing miniseries with Evan Dorkin and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I also like writing plays and making short films. So I've broadened my what I describe myself as a story maker, and okay, because I'm also getting old and burning out, writing and drawing comics. It's not easy, especially not on a regular book. And that's not, this is the way I make my living, but barely. And we can discuss that, and that's part of why me and Vito do a podcast, is to talk about these kinds of things,
What a great, wonderful full circle moment for you with the Fantastic Four, something that you read and you loved and like weekly, you depended upon it. And then you finally got to work in it. Right. And I'm sure it was almost like you strived for it, but you almost I'm sure you almost surprised yourself when you were finally doing it, right?
And not only that, but this is another thing that I think I've talked to Vito about and other people, is like 2.5 or 3 years ago, and I got an opportunity to draw a 10-page Superman story for a Kal-El special. I guess Superman had gone to outer space for a few years or something, and he returned, and this was like a one-shot, and this was a story that involved Jimmy Olsen. And I realized I've seen Superman a million times. I've probably drawn him a bunch of times in sketchbooks or something, but I don't know what my Superman looks like, and I drew 10 pages of a Superman, and then you think about the ones who did do it for a long time, like a Kurt Swan or John Bogdanov or whoever, John Byrne, like they eventually arrived, or they were fully formed out the gate, but you eventually arrive at your shorthand version of these characters. So even when I did Fantastic Four, I think I did a pretty good job, but I don't know if that's the way I would, if you given time, and what I'm saying? So it's weird because, and I've mentioned this on our podcast too, you grow up in public, you keep evolving and changing. And so when you're at a Comic-Con and someone comes up to your table with a comic you drew 25 years ago, and you're like, I can't even look at that. And they're looking at you and they're snickering and you're signing it and you're like, what was I thinking or doing? Or even worse, when it's better than what you're doing now, like the older thing, you're like, all right, I give up. I also think comic fans, the good comic fans and good comic readers are very forgiving.
Yeah.
I know I am. So
yeah, same. Why we're talking about Kirby and Fantastic Four, did you guys get to see the movie yet?
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that,
what did you think?
I loved it so much because it was a love letter to those early FFs. And
the funny thing is, on our show, we make the joke.
What's that?
I was going to say, on our show, we make the joke that we can't go an episode without mentioning Jack Kirby at least once.
I mean, I don't think
so. We made you guys do it, so that's even funnier.
So can we spoil as we talk about, or not?
Yeah.
I would say, let's just give the spoiler warning that if you haven't seen it, we're about to spoil Fantastic Four for you.
Yeah, so maybe go to...
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about spoilers, and I assume that, after a while, you might spoil by accident because you're telling something that maybe... Yeah, and again, I don't know how many spoilers there actually are in the movie, to be quite honest, because you can glean a lot of it from the trailer alone,
Sure.
Right, and if you know
the actual ending, the resolution for the ending there, that's a little bit of a spoiler. I would be bummed out if somebody told me how it ended.
Let me cut in with something else, though, before we start. Dean Haspiel saying I'm all about spoilers is a new thing. because Dean Haspiel, if we, when we shared a studio, we used to talk about stuff, and then like you're just talking, and so you're casual about stuff, and he go, I didn't see that yet. It's just like what, and like I remember him like sending me a very strongly worded email about spoiling. I swear to God, about spoiling something. And now he's like, "Oh, I'm all about spoilers." Like I don't know where this guy came from.
No, but I'm saying to put a spoiler up, a caveat.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I maintain that, you know. But I don't like the idea that if you didn't see the movie a week after it came out, tough titty. I'm like, no, man. Come on, man. That's not how it works. There are Marvel movies that I have not seen until it came onto television.
Yeah, right.
You know,
and a lot of people are like that now. So
yeah,
I've always been about like spoilers. It's like you can't spoil anything for me. If I'm interested, you're only going to make me more interested in some ways. Maybe there's like a reveal that you'll hold back because when you're talking to somebody, you recognize that they will be excited by this reveal, so you don't want to spoil that. But you can go through story beats, you can do all that stuff. But I think when it comes to spoilers, you have to be kind of sympathetic to somebody and kind of like, let's play to your like what you like about this property or this actor or whatever, and like let's then talk about the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be a great villain, the spoiler.
Oh, she's already a character.
There's got to be. I almost feel like Marvel has one.
I feel like
DC has a spoiler, but she's not a villain.
That's what it is. DC
feels like a tick.
I can
villain.
see Chip Zdarsky creating one.
Oh
yeah, that's a Chip Zdarsky character.
But I was thinking, I'm not thinking. I was going to say, and it's not too much of a spoiler, but I love that they started the movie 4 years later.
Yeah.
And so what that did, though, interestingly enough, is it removed that kind of tragic thing, the idea of a tragic thing,
Yeah.
And I think, was I missing that? I wasn't necessarily missing that, but we did get an Ever Loving Blue-Eyed thing, who has a moment of like, I got a skin condition,
I like that about this version of the thing is that there was a lot more self-acceptance, right? He was already kind of
he was like the gentle thing. Yeah, exactly.
And there's a moment with Reed where he like kind of bring it up again. He's like, no. And Reed still feels very guilty. So what that means he's going to try to reverse the effects again, at some point as he does, which was one of the stories that I drew in the FF, written by James Robinson, who wrote Starman.
Oh, nice.
Make the little circle right there.
I'll have to look for that. I'd love to read that.
But it was a fun Fantastic Four run. But no, it's just like I'd rather people just experience it on their own. I thought it was a very tight movie. There was hardly any fat on it. I did think what made me laugh, and I kept thinking, was this a joke? Was that their great plan was like, zoink, we're going to switch the baby out, and while we're going to make him look over there and switch out the baby. Like, that was your great master plan. And then shove him into like a portal, right? Like,
right.
So at first, when I first saw that, I was a little bit taken aback. Like, Sue Storm is way too overpowered here. Like, I don't get how she's able to do this. And then I stop and think to myself, I'm like, well, there's those stories of like those moms that like lift cars to save their kids.
Yeah.
So I'm like, boom, that was it. That made sense.
She has been, I think,
you cannot mess with a mom.
Yeah, you can't.
Hasn't she been proven the strongest of the four of them?
Yeah.
Right?
She is.
But I think that's also all together. Like, she's got all the pieces, not just her actual powers, but like everything that makes her the strongest, like leadership ability, maternal instinct, the actual invisibility, her ability to kind of work with all three and, work to their strengths and stuff.
Yeah.
And like that didn't come immediately though. Like, I mean, she was Reed for I don't know how many years during the Kirby Lee run. It must have been like John Byrne or Walt Simonson that really started making her like giving her agency and stuff. So
right.
Her mom powers were my favorite of the whole movie.
Yeah, her mom.
I just like it. It felt like the movie had a lot of love for the Kirby and Lee early years.
Well, they were in the timely building. Dude,
yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I love that.
I love my favorite part of the movie is the first 15 minutes when they're just showing the Mole Man and Red Ghost, and I was like, oh my god, I love this. So, like, it has a very pulpy futuristic retro look and everything about it.
Well, I also love the idea that there's a town with so and so down the block, and Reed is trying to baby proof the city,
yeah
and
that was great.
And it was just really cool that they've had these encounters, they've had this history, and the thing that I really loved is oh, okay, so Galactus wants to have your baby because he thinks it's powerful. And we know from the comics that Franklin, but nothing demonstrates whatsoever in the movie until a major spoiler. Sue Richards actually dies. She actually dies. And you're sitting there going, what? And then you're like, oh, Franklin, right? Franklin. He's got to show up. He's got to prove Galactus right.
Yeah.
Galactus was right. He is this incredible thing,
Yeah.
And he puts her on her chest and shout, gives her that love or whatever it is that his power is at that moment. I want my mommy back. Come on.
I love when he's using his powers in the comics, he has the eyes thing and kind of reflected in her eyes. That was a nice little teaser, I think.
Yeah.
Inevitably we're going to see a more adult version of him, and he's probably going to be the resolution of Secret Wars if we're looking that far ahead.
Sure.
But I love that little tease.
Wasn't there also an Elseworlds or an Earth X thing where Franklin was Galactus?
So this I don't know if I've ever seen that story. And I wrote a Fantastic Four plot that basically was Mr. Fantastic tries to stop the Marvel universe from happening, was my idea. Because what he realized was that there's this concept, and I think it's one of our great theorists or writers, that basically for every hero there's an anti-hero or there's a villain, there's the polar opposite. And with that in mind, I thought, well, remove all heroes, you won't have those kinds of villains. You'll have villains like bad people, as we do, but not super villains if you take away the superhero. Because what happened in my story is at the very end of what's happened is that Franklin has killed basically Galactus, consumed him, but taken over his armor or whatever. And Ego the Living Planet is trying to now have a battle with him, and he eats Ego the Living Planet, but becomes crazy because of Ego the Living Planet. And then so they have to try to kill Franklin, who's Galactus, who's gone crazy, and Dr. Doom even sides with the Fantastic Four, and all this stuff happens. And they get into a time machine. They go back to, I don't know, a month before they flew that rocket ship. So they don't have powers, and this is where my story begins.
I totally pictured the wrong thing, a different thing altogether. Mr. Fantastic went back in time and killed Jack Kirby or something.
Oh God!
No,
come on!
No.
That'd be terrible.
Don't you dare!
No.
You know what's funny?
Universe.
Dean, they kind of stole that concept with this with that new Ultimate line that they're doing at Marvel.
Oh, wait! There's a new. I know this is called Absolute. Now, what's Marvel doing now?
Yeah, so Marvel's doing Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate.
They rebooted
X-Men.
the Ultimate Universe, and
Ultimate. So it's a similar premise to what you just said. In that comic line, have you heard of the character the Maker, which is he's basically an evil Reed Richards from another multiverse, and he basically
had like a big helmet on his head.
Yes.
Okay, I saw something. I didn't read. Was that wasn't Hickman, right?
It was Hickman. Yeah.
It's Hickman. So he goes to a universe and stops all of the superheroes from being created. Like he plucks the spider from Spider-Man's thing, and
it's so funny because that's what wait. When did this happen? Because
this is something I wrote.
It's like 10 years ago.
This started like 2 years ago. I
think,
about this point.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, I mean, I'd like to read it, but also I'm like, I mean, I don't think anybody stole my idea, and I did have that out there, and I did put it. That's interesting. Oh well,
It's funny when ideas reverberate like that.
But it did
you know
create
I
a
know,
cool
like-
idea with Spider-Man, especially because what ends up happening is Iron Man brings a spider to him to have it, so he can.
Oh, so Iron Man's fixing all the.
Yeah, so he knows what's
Okay.
going on, and he kind of goes in and starts fixing things.
Right.
But he
right,
brings it
right.
to Peter, but Peter's already in his 30s, and he's already married to Mary Jane and has 2 kids.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that a great idea? Like, it's a great way to see how a hero starts.
And it kind of alters how they want to have powers or use their powers at a different age, a different, mindset.
Hey, look who's in the chat.
Oh,
you got to put that up in case Dean can't see it.
He had a great
mom. Yes, he did.
Mama.
And Harry said you created the best mom heroine.
The Coney. Yup, that's right. Thanks, guys.
Wonderful.
So I didn't mean to derail it. I just I saw his mom and I was just like, I got to say something.
Oh no,
that's awesome. Thank you for watching, Mama Haspiel.
What?
I was saying thank you for watching, Mama Haspiel.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
We love your son, Mama Haspiel.
Thank you, guys.
Mama Delsante, not so much.
Yeah,
they're still.
Oh, is she in there too?
No. No, she's probably reading her Bible. If I'm being honest, so she's got her priorities straight, I guess.
But also, I mean, going back to Fantastic Four movie, I love the future retro. What's it? The term retro
futuristic. Yeah.
I want to live there. I want to be there.
I do too.
That was so cool, and the fashion was the best. I like that Times Square. That's a Times Square I remember.
I love that they paid homage to the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon too. I thought that was great.
The retro futuristic style actually helped me accept Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. Because honestly, I was having a real hard time. Keith and I talk about it all the time. There's like Pedro Pascal fatigue. He's everywhere. He's in everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's great in everything. Don't get me wrong, but there's like so much, you see him everywhere. You're like, okay, enough already with this guy.
Right.
But the fact that it was retro futuristic, he had that like mustache and like he was a celebrity with Sue Storm to that point, almost kind of was like, what if like Desi and Lucy had superpowers? That's kind of like
interesting way to look at it.
And that kind of helped me accept him as Reed. And then he started doing all these Reed things.
Never even thought about it that way.
Yeah. And so that's what like that helped me accept him as the character. And when he started talking like Reed, like I accepted it fully.
So time out. You got Desi and Lucy as Reed and Sue. That would make the Thing Jackie Gleason?
No.
Yes.
Or
no. The Thing is who's the neighbor?
Fred Mertz?
Fred Mertz is the Thing, man.
Yes.
So then who's Johnny? Like Leave It to Beaver? Like
Dennis the Menace? I don't know.
Well, let's
Eddie Haskell. Eddie Haskell.
I think you're right, man. And if it's not Fred Mertz, then it's totally Jackie Gleason.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that would be awesome. Oh man, I want to see that. Well, we kind of got that. We
got that a little bit, like I said. Although that would make for a great like print at a Comic-Con. Like if I was walking and I saw like Desi and Lucy as like Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic, the Fantastic Four or whatever, I would totally buy that. That's
or like a cosplay of
or
like
cosplay, exactly.
Like Lucille Ball hair.
Calling all Terrificon cosplayers out there. That's what I want to see this weekend.
That would be awesome.
That's so great.
And of course, I love Superman, and I'm such a big Fantastic Four fan that people are asking, well, which one was better or whatever. And I don't do that, but I have to say, I think if I had to, I think I like Superman better.
I'm the same.
Okay.
That's what I was just about to say too. Like I think the reason why is because as much as the retro futuristic look made you kind of like accept a little bit more of it, John, like you were saying, the thing about Superman is that it's very modern and it's very today. And it's like, it's almost what's happening outside the window. So, there's a lot of allegories with the president and the Lex Luthor and, Israel, Palestine with Jaranpur and the other country. So there's a lot of parallels. And like when you're watching it, you just feel immersed in it because it's so easily translatable to what we're already experiencing. So for me, that's kind of why I like Superman more, is because I can, like, it felt more current, I guess.
Well, I felt more heartfelt. Like, I loved the Fantastic Four, but I was crying during Superman.
Same, yeah.
Why.
Okay.
You know, like that was the difference. Another thing I wanted to bring up really quick, because we're kind of doing a communal thing right here, but I think the thing that locked it in for me to want to do comics, there used to be a weekly newspaper called the Comics Buyer's Guide.
Oh yeah,
and
I remember that. Yeah.
There'd be a lot of letters and articles written, and there'd be a lot of ads to buy comics and everything. But you started to form a community out of that. Yeah. And I remember started writing a letter to a guy named Martin Powell, who lived in Kentucky, and he was a writer. I wanted to be an artist. And we went from letter writing to occasional phone calls and created a character called The Verdict that we then sold to a company called Eternity Comics that was run by Brian David Marshall. And he was publishing a guy named Evan Dorkin, a comic called Pirate Corps, whatever, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then we did the Verdict miniseries. And that's what kind of really got me. And this was like in 87. So in 1985, my senior year of high school, I became an assistant to 3 amazing cartoonists: Howard Chaykin on American Flag, Bill Sienkiewicz on New Mutants and Electra Assassin, and Walter Simonson on Thor, which is like, there's your comics college right there. You know, like,
holy shit. That's a master class right there. Yeah, for sure.
And then down the hall, and then in Upstart Studios, which housed Chaykin and Simonson, had a guy named Jim Sherman who drew Legion Superheroes and other stuff. Before that, they had Frank Miller, I think, was there, Jim Starlin, Val Myrick. And down the hall with Bill Sienkiewicz was Dennis Cowan and Michael Davis. So, like, my head's just exploding, 17 going on 18, you know, and just locking in and confirming that I needed to do this. But also, there was a model, or there were several models of how to do indie comics or how to do franchise comics, or what you had to do.
Blowing up right around that time, too,
and it was blowing up, and then the graphic novels happening, you know, with Dark Knight and Mouse had, I think, had already come out, and then Watchmen was coming, and, you know, it was confirming once again these things were legit and they were literary. And then Sandman showed up, and, you know, and then web comics and everything else. But I feel like we have so many outlets that I don't know how comics work today anymore. You know?
Meanwhile, while he's doing all this, I'm moving to Pennsylvania and just being away from, like I had to get my comics at a Hallmark store. There was like a magazine rack at a Hallmark store. Yeah. So I went from newsstands to finding like the first early comic book stores in Staten Island to moving to Pennsylvania, where I am now, right? Actually a couple miles away, and having to like being in a desert, you know, like having a drought, and then just so by chance finding the Mike Zeck Captain Americas and
J.M.
DeMatteis, and then like X-Men, you know, continuing with Claremont, and I think at that point John Romita Jr. Might have just started coming in. So like I'm, you know, just by chance finding comics there. But like I was telling Dean last couple of weeks ago that I didn't have access to, say, graphic novels or prestige format books or anything like that. So I didn't read Watchmen until I was in my 20s.
Oh, wow.
Because it wasn't newsstand friendly. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't get to read Dark Knight Returns for a couple of years until a friend of mine, Matt Sweeney, who's still a friend of mine from high school, had the weirdly bound, like it was like leather but padded, you know, and it came in a slipcase of Dark Knight Returns. It was great, and I got to read that at his house. So, you know, like I didn't have all the access. It's weird, like, you know, you go from, you know, having all the access to having none, and, you know, and meanwhile he's working down the hall from Dennis Cowan doing The Question. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's crazy. Legendary run too. Oh my god. The and that's part of, not to get on like a comics rant, but like it drives me nuts that comics don't realize that most people find comics not in comic stores. They find them in Hallmark stores. Yeah. And we all started there, like at a spinner rack somewhere in like some drugstore. And I feel like that's part of the problem with comics today.
I was lucky
because the problem with comics is the direct market. And our buddy Mike Cavallaro, who's a great cartoonist, and I shared a studio with, he's awesome, New Jersey guy. he posited that when the direct market happened, that actually kind of messed up comics in some ways, because it was trying to solve one problem, but then it was creating a whole other one, and it became basically a pyramid scheme of sorts. Comics.
Oh, interesting.
You know, in terms of retail and reviews and distribution, and you know, the certain amount that you could order or didn't have to order. I mean, newsstands were famous for they could return comics that didn't sell and just tear the title off the comic book and just return those. Which is why you'd see a lot of comic books that were missing the title or the cover. You know, but that didn't seem to be fair. But also, comics could sell like millions of copies at the newsstand, where you know, and I guess there was a heyday in the comic shop, but nowadays there's nothing like that.
Yeah,
there's nothing.
I agree. Like, and shops, sadly I don't seem to be the first place people go for comics anymore now.
Did you guys see that there's a I don't want to say a report, but there seemed to be like a lot of buzz that even though Superman didn't break $1 billion, it made people go into comic stores again.
That's true. I work at one part-time, and I just sold somebody yesterday the newest Metamorpho miniseries. And I was like, "Oh, did you go see the new movie?" And she's like, "Yeah, I love this character." It was a girl too. Like she bought the whole thing, and I was like, "Oh, this is great."
That is great.
But
if anything, that's the best thing to come out of the new Superman movie, right?
Yeah,
you have a young girl buying a Metamorpho comic, like
right.
It almost seems unheard of. You know what I mean?
Right.
Discovering that character for the first time, probably.
And he was great. Like that was one of my favorite parts of that movie. He's like he's crying his eyes out over this poor guy getting like shot.
Yeah,
and it just showed such humanity and such an inhumane looking character.
You
know what I mean?
I loved how much of a menace Crypto was. That was my favorite.
Metamorpho, more like meta emo.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I thought it was great. I thought the whole thing was great.
Yeah. I enjoyed that. I feel my favorite part. You know what I wish there was more of in the Superman movie? I love the entire Daily Planet staff. Like they got them all 100% correct.
How do we know about Ron Troop though? Like he had one line. It's like, wait, you cast this guy. What? Make him do something.
I keep saying this. There needs to be a movie with more of the Caldor. What do they call it? The Caldorians? The
Kandorians
in the dome. Kandorians.
Oh yeah.
I always think of Caldor. The shop.
So in 1985,
when
I was an assistant to Chaykin and Simonson in the same room, DC approached both of them to take over Superman franchise.
Okay.
And they came up with their pitches, and I've already discussed this before, so I'll just do it quickly here. Chaykin's pitch was awesome. It was going to be basically the Daily Planet, because you know, he would do like an office drama in a really great way. And his whole idea was that you start off with Superman wearing headphones back then, you know, like all you guys except me, listening to a Walkman, singing some kind of old, you know, love song, and you know, just flying in the sky, everything's cool, he's great, and then him going and changing into Clark Kent to go to the Daily Planet. But the dirty secret is the entire neighborhood knows he's Clark Kent, but they don't let him know they know that, because they just let him think, you know, oh, you turn into one of us, you know, during the day or whatever. And then he would do some Daily Planet stories, which I love that idea. And then Simonson, his idea was, you just tell the first issue that he would do, you tell the origin, you show all the great fights he ever had, all the major story points, and on the last page, Superman is looking at you and he says, "It was all a lie."
Oh.
And then he would take it from there. I don't know how that would resolve. And DC was like, "No way, no way, we can't do that." And this was off the heels of his Thor run, you know, like So you know, he was still doing Thor, but they were trying to woo him, DC, and that was his pitch. And they didn't go for it, and they didn't go for Howard's Daily Planet, you know. And I would love to see these ideas.
Oh,
you know?
I love both of those pitches.
There was a funny SNL Saturday Night Live with the Rock in it playing Clark Kent.
I saw that skit.
But his cape was hanging outside of his like pants, you know, and like everyone knew he was Superman. Like,
so I remember that.
Right,
one.
exactly,
right.
Exactly. I love that.
Wow. So
who's your favorite on-screen Superman? Everybody.
Oh,
George Reeves.
George Reeves, really?
I would say
Christopher
that.
Reeve.
I love
Christopher
George
Reeves.
Reeves.
Christopher Reeves.
You know, I really like this new guy. I think
Wasn't he great?
He's great.
I think Cavill was the epitome of the look of Superman. I thought Brandon Routh was the epitome of the look of Clark Kent. But I think between Christopher Reeves and David Corenswet, I think they're the pinnacle of like my mind's eye of what Superman should look like.
Yeah, when Dean was talking about what the look of his Superman would be, like I always picture Christopher Reeves. You know, he is like the classic look. You know what I mean? Like it looks like he took him out of the comic book and slapped him on the screen.
I've always said that Superman has to have a little bit of sex appeal. Like he's got to be kind of, I'm going to say sexy, but like in a roundabout way, where he needs to be. Obviously, you know, you can look at him and go, "Oh, women are definitely attracted to this guy," but then you look at, you know, like men looking at him and they're like, it's like I remember when Cavill took his shirt off in one of the Man of Steel movies. I was like, you know, they talk about women having unrealistic expectations of bodies. Like that's the most unrealistic expectation for a man to ever look at. So, you know, like you look at it and you envy it and you're kind of like, yeah, I realize he's attracted. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's what you
ladies
need.
Love him, guys want to be him kind of thing, right? That old saying.
Yeah.
I would say Corenswet's up there with Christopher Reeve for me.
Well, and I like his attitude. I like his attitude, you know. And listen, I've enjoyed every Superman I've seen, you know. I mean, I guess the bigger question is, and we can get to Fantastic Four, is if, for instance, some people, I think the hardest sell was Pedro Pascal to play Reed Richards. Well, then who would you have cast? Who would you have cast?
I would have liked Matt Smith, who played one of the Doctor Who's.
Right.
Like this lanky kind of like. The problem is, I think he was already in the MCU in a different role. I can't remember what role, but like I think he would have made a good one.
I would have kept Krasinski, or I would have gotten that guy from the You Netflix TV series.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
I think both of them would have been great. Just to circle, like put a pin on Superman for me. One of the things I liked about the movies is that it wasn't about Superman. It was about the world reacting to Superman. So I loved that aspect of it. And the other thing I liked I needed Superman to be good. Like I needed it to be good because I really didn't like Man of Steel. And I thought that the one that Superman Returns was just kind of like an echo of the Reeves movies. So I really needed this to be a good Superman movie. And I was very happy about it. I also felt like the last two Superman movies we got were like, they're just trying to make him space Jesus. And in this, he just felt like Superman from the comics. Yeah. And I felt that was rushing to the movies and the character in the movies.
I also think that these two movies, Superman and Fantastic Four, what I love about them, and this is my sensibility, is that they are very Silver Age. They feel very Silver Age.
Both of them.
And I kept thinking, was I in the writer's room in both of these movies somehow? Like when did I work on these movies? I couldn't remember, you know, like. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right. That's right. Like, what did you think about the twist with his parents?
I think that's that we will find out more about that in the next movie.
I liked it because I thought it served the story well.
Oh, but I don't think it's real. I think.
Okay.
I think. Listen, I don't mind if it's real. I like the idea of this. Of that Krypton is like behaves and thinks this way, you know, the Kryptonians.
Yeah, right. Keith, the Christies.
Say what?
Are you talking about the Christies? The Christies?
No, I'm talking
Superman's
about Jor-El and Lara.
Those
twist with them.
I think
somebody listens to Howard Stern.
Yes,
right.
Because I know about that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
I'm glad.
No, but I think they're setting up Brainiac, and I think AI messed with and Brainiac's going to be a big AI villain.
Oh, that's a great idea, actually. Wow. Okay.
Come on. I mean,
it's there. I like that. You could say that Brainiac's been there all along, right?
Yes.
I like that. I really like that because that was actually one of the things I didn't like was that twist, and I almost felt like it was like a riff on Invincible. And I'm like, all right,
which I haven't seen, and I know of it, so I know what you mean. But you know what? I think that nobody has talked about is because they think it was just a funny
Marvel?
joke. And you keep using references. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That's Harry
Who is
for
this
you.
guy?
That's why he's the
TV show
untimely
Smallville, have you ever
tangent.
watched that?
No, wait.
Yeah.
What was the thing you said?
The Smallville TV show. Ever watched that?
I never saw that actually.
Okay.
I never saw that.
Oh, you-
Smallville. No. What I was going to say is at the end when Mr. Terrific, when the there's a little crack in the wall when they sewed back the split up, Metropolis, whatever. And I'm looking at that wall, and he's looking at that wall, and then Mr. Terrific comes by, and they do the joke like you didn't get it perfectly aligned, whatever.
Yeah.
I think there might be some kind of weird rift. I think that might have set up another story.
Okay.
Can I throw out something about Superman that no one has caught in any of the Easter egg breakdowns and all that stuff?
Okay.
The monkeys.
Oh,
The monkeys that
yeah.
were farming hate.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers that Brainiac had a pet monkey that had those little things on it, like when he first appeared.
Oh, but there you go.
Yes.
There
Like,
you go.
it's
You
there.
nailed it.
Like, it's
nailed
all
it.
right there.
It's right there.
I
They
heard
did
a
bring
really
that
great,
back in the Harley Quinn animated
Yes.
series.
Yeah.
I heard a really great theory. Somebody came to my table and said that end scene with the misaligned building
Yeah.
is actually a very meta scene, and that we, the audience, are Superman critiquing it, and that James Gunn or the creators are Mr. Terrific, and it's just like, man, I gave you this, I gave you gold, and you still gonna pick it apart? Like, come on now.
No, that's a funny meta thing. Absolutely. I love that. I don't know. I thought there was more to it, and it could be like he was just, doing what referencing or allowing.
I think could have been a little bit of both, because I really like your thought process too. And even when I saw the portals, I'm like, oh well, this has got to lead to crisis at some point, right?
And I kept thinking those portals were those boom tubes. No, they weren't, but they were kind of like boom tubes, like Jack Kirby boom tubes, So
right.
I don't know. It's a lot of fun that story, even though it goes nuts. And what I also love, and I think someone else pointed this out, he just throws you into that world. Like Fantastic Four is 4 years in. Superman is 30 years in, and not that he's been Superman for 30 years, he's been Superman for maybe 3 years or something.
Yeah.
And he just had a major fight, and I talked to a major publisher about how he was disappointed in not seeing that fight. I'm like, you've seen the fight in your brain, and you've seen it in a billion comic books. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
and also the whole thing about comics is the action takes place in the gutters.
Exactly.
That's what this is. It's action taking place in the gutters of your mind. That's all.
And that's actually the gutters he kind of references by doing those with those pockets of space and time.
Yeah, right.
Like the gutters in a way. But what I was going to say is, it's like Star Wars. Fantastic Four and Superman for the new viewer is like Star Wars, in that Star Wars doesn't explain itself either. A New Hope, the fourth movie, which is our first movie, you just get thrown in there and you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, because
you could pick apart the detail,
fed everything,
right? Exactly.
It's the only way that the surprise of Darth Vader being Luke's father would have worked. You know what I mean? If you'd seen it all the way through, it wouldn't have been as shocking.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, right. I always wondered that if they shoehorned that in to or if that was a plan. I don't know. But yeah, no, I love story. Well, you know what? It's funny. Everyone loved Andor seasons 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
And I liked Andor season 1 a lot, but I did not care for 2, and I realized it was so much minutia. So that, and then somebody just did, Vito, I don't know if I sent you this video. Someone did when they figured out the Death Star plans, how many hands they had to go through before it finally got to Princess Leia.
You didn't send that to me. I got to see that.
Oh, I got to send it. And it's ridiculous. It's just too much, And then someone else pointed out that if they had the internet back then, you just email it to everybody, and somebody would eventually get it.
So I want to point out a couple of things that are in the comments. Johnny Penn Badgley is the guy you were talking about. Thank you, Steve.
Yes. Thank you.
There, someone mentioned Gorilla Grodd. I think that's being set up differently. Like, I don't think the little monkeys can be Gorilla City level. Although that would be great.
Although maybe the step after that is Gorilla City, right?
That would be great. And then Gary Challoner, shout out to my Tasmanian buddy, joining us today. Lex Luthor totally underused. So the idea that I heard that I hope is true, black hole with all those square things going through it creates Bizarro World, and then we get Bizarro. So
yeah,
but
that's
to this idea, Cyclone Comics, you wouldn't have the clone going out there as Superman, because then when you have the two Supermans, that blows the whole thing, right? You have the Ultraman hidden in the containment suit, right? And then that's how you kind of act it out, right? Because if you have just two Supermans out there doing the same thing, like, one acting negatively, that kind of blows the whole thing up front. Superman's going to be onto it.
So I wrote a story for
Nuclear Man. I think he's
Nuclear Man.
Yeah, Nuclear Man.
I wrote a story for Superman once. I got one crack at Superman. It was the only crack I ever got, and then I never got one again. But Superman fights Solomon Grundy, and what eventually happens at the end of the episode, at the end of the issue, you find out that Lex Luthor took parts of Solomon Grundy and Superman's DNA to create Bizarro. Like, that's the implication.
Oh, so that's a great idea.
Yeah, it was
I like that.
The funny thing is, like, when you write for DC, like, I wanted to write, like, I got a chance to write a JSA Classified, which never got to be seen because everybody started doing Wildcat all of a sudden. Okay. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to subtly change canon, where you're reading this book that should just be a throwaway book, and it actually means something. So Superman Confidential was supposed to be where my Superman story was published. And originally it was supposed to be a 3-issue run. And it was basically, I was writing for Dean, and it was, where did Superman learn how to fight? So everybody always assumes it's Batman or Wonder Woman. And I was like, no, it's neither one. It's Hawkman. Hawkman is the only person who's an alien and who probably would have been on Krypton at some point in his life to learn the Kryptonian martial arts. So Dean was supposed to draw that, and I was going to write it for him. And then what happened was they were trying to sign an artist by the name of Julian Lopez to an exclusive contract. And they're like, Vito, can you write an issue in a weekend? So I wrote this issue, which ended up being Superman 676. So again, subtle changes of canon that, if you really look at it, you would go, oh, okay. So Lex Luthor created Bizarro from DNA of both Solomon Grundy and Superman. And then the other one was JSA Classified, where you find out that Wildcat trained Batman, right?
Yeah.
We all know this, but he didn't train him when you think he did. He trained him when he was a kid. And it was because Wildcat was trying to make Bruce Wayne his sidekick.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Bruce, being, broken and hurt, he was like, but you didn't save my parents. What kind of, like, when he reveals himself to be Wildcat, he's like, you weren't there. Like, and Bruce quit. And that's when, that's when the rift happens. But like, eventually he, obviously
I like that. I would love to
cool
see
idea.
that series.
Yeah, very cool idea.
I got paid for it, but it never got seen by the light of day. I don't know, and they just killed Wildcat and JSA, so
yeah,
it never happened.
Saw that. I love that character though. I was a big fan of Wildcat.
It informs a lot of Stray if you like Wildcat. If you understand how much I like Wildcat and how much I like Nightwing, you'll understand Stray.
You can see the bones of that in there for sure.
Yeah. I drew a 10-page Wildcat story written by Neil Clyde. That was in some Superman one-shot or 80-page giant or something. I forget what it was.
Was
it a good story? Was it?
It was Perry Mason and Wildcat.
Perry White.
Perry White.
I'd love to see Perry Mason and Wildcat. That would be dope.
Are sitting in a bar and they're drinking, and then they're telling stories and there's fights and whatnot. But actually,
tell me about the story you wrote where it was Ironsides, Professor X, and Niles Calder from the Doom Patrol having a drink.
Oh, dude,
that's great. That's another awesome print you got to see at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, right.
Too many wheelchairs. But no, I loosely come up with an idea that I talked to Mark Waid about years ago, and it was called Crush. And the idea was that Lois is in love with Superman, but she has a secret crush on Batman. And
Okay.
Superman finds out, and it's early on in their careers, right? And Superman knows this, and he's kind of like bummed out. He doesn't know what to do it, so he's kind of like hating on Batman. And I think it's even possible that he knows that he's Bruce Wayne because he would have that ability. But Batman, it's starting to. They're gonna have a rumble, right? But Batman finds out that Joker's in town, and he has somehow injected Bizarro with Joker juice or whatever it is that he,
the toxin.
But this is what happens. It doesn't make him crazy. It makes him acutely sane and very in clarity to Bizarro. Nothing is backwards, and in fact, he's more scary now because he knows how to fight, and he can basically kill a young Superman. So Joker has. Basically, he knows there's gonna be a fight. So I think part of the story was that Batman takes a certain area of Gotham or something and has roped it off with kryptonite, so that he can teach Superman how to fight. I know Vito had a different thought about that, man to man. Because just because you have superpowers, that's great. But if you don't know how to fight, and you don't know how to fight another guy that's like you and better than you, then you're gonna get your ass handed to you. So that was part of the story. And then Lex Luthor shows up later, and there was this graphic novel or this miniseries that we've been wanting to do for years. But I don't think DC is gonna let me. I mean, times have changed.
Do you know what I would have done?
Good.
I would have just under the surface there. If Superman knows, if Superman knows Batman is Bruce Wayne, as a reporter, I would start writing op-ed pieces about why Bruce Wayne's a piece of shit.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Like just little digs, little,
anonymous.
Yeah, no, not even like Clark Kent wrote the Bruce Wayne.
Oh, Clark Kent.
Yeah, totally. Dude,
yeah, that's how
you were kind of leaning into like the Rocky III of Batman and Superman stories,
right?
A little bit, right? I like that.
Right. That's awesome.
It's great stuff. One of my favorite, why we were talking about Wildcat, one of my favorite stories with him was the one Jeff Johns wrote in his run of JSA. I think it was JSA 9.
Oh, when he's got his arm broken or whatever, and he's in the bathtub.
Yeah, and the cover looks like Raging Bull.
So good.
He has to basically take on the entire Injustice Society by himself
with
the broken arm. Oh my God.
I've never seen that.
It's good.
What
it's very good.
Such a great single issue is. It'll make you love Wildcat, actually.
Right.
I'll give you more bona fides of my own. I edited severely the Wildcat Wikipedia entry many years ago.
Did you?
Yeah. And I was just like, no, like they're missing this thing, and they're missing this part with Black Canary's mom, and they're missing this. So like I put in a lot of that stuff, it was very, and it was like, because I was doing all this research for all the stories I wanted to. I actually also pitched a Brave and the Bold, kind of like a, not a retcon. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a reboot.
Like a reboot.
Yeah, like where it would be Wildcat and a guest. So like there was I had one with Tim Drake. I had one, with, and I pitched it all like I think 8 issues. Dean makes fun of me all the time because I have 50 issues of Nightwing that I could write tomorrow if they hire me, like, because I'm always ready.
But Vito, I just checked right now the Wildcat wiki, and my name isn't on there, man.
Well, I haven't
missed one.
I haven't touched it in years.
All right.
But I'm glad
you
you
go back
did
and
that.
fix that.
Sure.
I'm glad you did that because genuinely now you've seeded the internet with factual information.
Oh yeah,
what I mean?
It
like,
wasn't for any
thank God
reason,
for fans like you out there.
It wasn't for any reason other than like I know something somebody else doesn't know. Like this is not that anybody else needs to look at this. But like maybe we know Jeff Johns. Like maybe Jeff's looking at the wiki. He's like maybe he doesn't know something. Like doubtful, right. But like The crazy thing is, if you're given the opportunity to write these characters, you can kind of, not always, but you can kind of create new ways to play with these characters so that it changes the history of that character or the future of that character for the next guy. And again, like, you know, like the JSA classified story I wrote, you find out that Ted doesn't like going to Atlantic City, and there's a reason why he doesn't like going to Atlantic City. He'd rather be in Vegas. Atlantic City is a bad thing for him, you know. And you think about boxing, and you think about like sports commissions and stuff like that, and you know, like the state boxing commissions and stuff. And you're like, you find out that, you know, like he just had bad experiences in Jersey, and who doesn't have a bad experience in New Jersey? Everybody does. But you know, like the whole thing is just based, you know, like I just wanted to, like, while I was writing this pitch, I was like, well, there's a thing that nobody knows, so let me just, you know, put it in there.
You know, it's funny, you just reminded me of did Hawkeye and Black Widow were always talking about some event during
Budapest?
Yeah, and then they showed it, right?
No.
Wait,
they keep talking about it, but then, like,
they still haven't shown Budapest. I mean, I can't remember what it was, but I remember they were talking about it.
No, they only alluded to it.
They talk about it a little bit more in the Black Widow movie, but he's not in there. Like, you know, so you don't actually see it. But
yeah, they still haven't resolved that, huh? Yeah, it's you're right. I forgot.
Hawkeye season 2. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be awesome. They could do a flashback, but I mean, they maybe they're waiting to do that movie. You know, tell that story, the Budapest story. You know, because when she was still alive, the character. You know,
here's a question.
That would be great for a Black Widow too, right?
Yeah, right.
And you know, for a Captain America sequel, I think we all just want to see him returning the stones, right? Like, I would totally want to see that movie.
Well, while we're talking about the MCU movies, and you know, like the big news was that like FF didn't do really well in the second weekend. Like, what do you guys think is wrong with the MCU? Like, why do you think like the movies are starting to tank?
Honestly, I don't think about it.
Okay. All right.
I was just gonna say the same thing as Vito.
It's not the answer that you're looking for, I'm sure, but like I've watched them all almost. You know, like I don't know that there's any of the projects that I haven't watched Secret Invasion.
Okay.
So, but for the most part, I've watched them all, and like I don't care how well it does. You know, like you're throwing pasta against a wall to see what sticks. You know, like you should. You know, like not all of them are going to work. Who thought Ant-Man would warrant a movie, much less 3? You know, like when they first announced Ant-Man, weren't you all confused? Like, why Ant-Man? But it worked. You know, like you can't,
except for Blue Beetle.
Yeah, well, me too.
Yeah.
With Ant-Man, that sizzle reel they showed us, though, that it was a fresh new take. It felt like, you know, and at that era of the MCU, it was like, oh, here's like the spy movie that they're doing, you know. It felt a little bit like that, where like, you know, the first Avenger was like the period piece kind of thing, and Thor felt very cosmic at that time. It was just like, oh, this is the next section of the MCU they're going to explore. And I think that's kind of what gave that movie that mileage, at least for me.
Well, my theory is like, I think the worst decision they ever made was to have with Avengers Endgame kind of give like kind of an ending to
an era.
Yes. And then like try to start something up and not, I don't know. It just didn't hit the same. I think people were trained to like, oh, this is where I jump off, you know, kind of thing.
We were also flooded. They kind of flooded. They did what they did in the 90s, and they flooded the market.
So I think they should just do like the James Bond thing. When the movies start getting a little long in the teeth, go away for 3 years, 4 years, and make people miss it again. You know, like
Well, I mean, the movies are weird because then the TV show started happening, and I remember thinking when I think there was an analogy once that like some movies are like the annuals and the TV show is like the issues or something, right?
Okay.
Or it could be like that, you know, and it didn't work out like that. It worked out kind of reverse, you know. And I do think there's just something of a fatigue for people. Like I know young kids today that have no desire to watch a superhero movie at all. And that kind of perplexes me because when I was a kid, I'd be like dying for this, moment. But we also grew up on the comic books when we didn't have movies like this, you know?
Yeah, right.
We had Batman 66 and, you know, George Reeves Superman. And then we had the Christopher Reeve Superman and not too many others, you know? Mystery Men came out, which was great. And, you know, other little kind of possibilities or corny TV show versions. But now it's so now they can do anything.
Yeah,
and maybe they need to, slow it down a little bit, but then everybody's about money. Producers want to make money.
I think, and I hope this is the case, that, even in the 90s when, we got the worst Batman movies, it drove audiences a little bit more to the indie scene. You know what I mean? Like I discovered the Max, not in a comic shop, but on MTV. And then from there, it pushed me to the comic shop, and, like, I feel like if MTV didn't evolve into what it is today and was still running music videos and was still doing something like Oddities that featured the Max, like when I was reading Chest Face, I'm like, this would be a perfect like Adult Swim, or would have been a perfect MTV cartoon from back in the day.
Yeah,
right.
You know what I mean?
Like with Aeon Flux,
it's got
and
that
all
vibe.
Yeah.
Aeon Flux, exactly like that.
I can see that.
But
the thing about the movies too is that, like, if you read a bad comic book, there's a bunch of other comic books to read. Like you don't usually throw out the baby with the bathwater. Like just because you read a bad Spider-Man doesn't mean you'll never read Spider-Man again,
right?
Or that you won't read Superman. With the movies, the alternative for superhero movies is something like Sinners or Barbarian, or or something like that. And like or like an A24 movie, like what's the Lighthouse? Is that
or like The Substance? You mean kind of like bombastic, hyperbolic, kind of very super genre, but not superhero genre, but a horror genre.
But the thing is, a lot of the viewers of like the Marvel movies, especially, not so much DC because there haven't been as many in the same span of time. But the problem is you don't see those guys going to try something like Sinners or any of those other movies, and that's the problem. Like we're addicted. It's like crack. Like you wanted to see something so bad all your life, and then you finally get to see it, and then it doesn't like Eternals. I enjoy Eternals. I'm not talking trash about it at all, but it's not for everyone. It's like that is a movie that, number one, I had to break up into 2 days. And number two, I came out going, it's not the best representation of the Eternals, but I don't hate it, but I could just watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, or
that movie's the best,
or The Nice Guys or something like, you know what I mean? Like if I want to watch something enjoyable, and if that wasn't enjoyable, I'll do that. I'm not going to sit around and wait for the next superhero movie. I'm just going to watch a movie, and the thing is, there are some movies that you can just watch and shut your brain off, like a superhero movie. And then there's some movies that you have to sit, like Requiem for a Dream, and like sit in it for like after the movie's over and just go, what did I just watch? You know what I mean? Like, and just absolutely, like absorb it and just like, what is my takeaway from this? Don't do heroin.
That's a good point here. It's a whole generation of fans who have never known a world without superhero movies, so they're kind of passe. Yeah, absolutely. It's like the people that grew up with just the internet.
It's like if you put it to like a 90s frame of reference, what if every movie was The Crow?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can you imagine what that world would look like? Oh, it's
pretty depressing.
Living in.
It would also have Blade in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like if you had an Indiana Jones movie and the TV show, and like they were all like on top, stacked on top of each other, you would like see kind of clones of it, where it would be like Tales of the Monkey Island or whatever it's called, Tales of the Golden Monkey. That's what it was.
That's a great show.
Oh yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah, it was great, and then you would see like other shows like that, but like that show didn't last very long, and like you have to have Indiana Jones as the franchise that everybody goes to. But like, God, I would have taken so many. Sky Captain should have been so much bigger than it was. Also should have been made 20 years beforehand, but
around that same time though, the Disney show, the Amazing Stories, remember that show?
Mm-hmm.
I love that show.
Yeah,
like one-offs, like that. It's like a plane that didn't have something that you might enjoy, Dean. There's like a plane that lost its like landing gear, and somebody on the plane was an artist, and he drew the landing gear, like whatever he drew.
Oh yeah, Amazing Stories.
Yeah, right.
That. Yeah,
it's an amazing. That was a great story. Yeah,
that's you reminding me of Sam Raimi in the 90s, I think, when he was producing TV shows.
Hercules.
And kind of giving us our little Silver Age James Gunn-esque type,
Xena,
stories.
Hercules.
Hercules, Xena. Was there a TV show called like Cleopatra 2025 or something?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Jack of all trades.
What about Automan? Anybody?
I've never seen it, but I know
Automan.
Like the chair?
No.
What was that?
Automan.
Oh, I think you said Ottoman. Ottoman.
Oh, well, that would probably be a better
hero.
show, actually.
Although
no, Automan was like a Tron ripoff from the like.
All right.
Like my
Pretty
jam.
much Street Hawk. What about Manimal?
Holmes and Yo-Yo? Do you remember Holmes and Yo-Yo from the 70s?
Do you remember
Check out Holmes and Yo-Yo. Just the trailer alone.
All right.
Oh my God.
Holmes
ridiculous.
and Yo-Yo. I have to look.
Holmes and Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo was a robot cop and Holmes was the sidekick.
I know exactly. I've never watched it. I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's pretty amazing. Well, you had mentioned Chest Face, so you did get a chance to read it, or did you check out any of our comics?
I did. Yeah. I would say with Chest Face, like honest to God, it I got Toxie vibes from it. From like it felt like something that Troma may have like kind of cooked up, and it just I love that he had like a girlfriend or a female compatriot that was kind of with him alongside him. It felt a little bit like Toxic Avenger. They were both fighting the system.
Dean just did a cover for them or something, right? Or the movie poster.
Well, I did two things. I did a cover for the Toxic Avenger series that Ahoy is publishing, written by Matt Bors and drawn by my buddy Fred Harper. And the publisher Tom Pear asked me to do a cover, and I only came up with one idea. Usually, you give him a few. I came up with one. The only one I could come up with was him bending over and spreading his ass cheeks and basically farting, and they loved it. So
awesome.
Check it out. It's fun, and it's funny because I actually drew like a nuclear explosion coming out of his ass, because toxic or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And the editor publisher said that to remove the cloud bomb coming from his ass because he thought retailers would be upset of that. But meanwhile, go look at the cover. Just look it up. Dean Haspiel, and they let that other part happen. Like I thought it was the reverse. Yeah. Like what are you talking about? And then the guy I met, Lloyd Kaufman and a couple other guys, Adam Peltier and the other guy's name is escaping me right now. But they're producers over at Troma. And they were putting together Andrew Miller, is that his name? They were putting together they were editing back into its original form, Toxic Avengers numbers 2 and 3, because it was originally the second one was supposed to be called Mr. Melvin.
Okay.
And then they shot so much that they made 2 movies out of it, So they went to the original script, and edited back into what Mr. Melvin was supposed to be. So I did the movie poster for that. That came out like a month ago or less.
Oh, nice. I'll have to see that.
That's
version.
Cool. I love the first movie. I never really checked out the sequels.
Right.
I feel like the new one that's coming out with Peter Dinklage is going to be a disaster. I don't know. Have you seen it?
I have faith.
No, have faith. Macon Blair is a great director and a great actor, and I had some emails with him because I was just a fan of him as an actor and a director, and I didn't realize he had done the Toxic Avenger movie because it was made. Yeah, that guy, and I think it was made like a year or 2 ago, to be honest. But it has so much fucked up shit in it that they're having a tough time getting it out the door,
so did the original though, right?
Exactly.
So that's they're paying homage to that, I assume.
Exactly.
And that's part of, and that clashes very much so with today's audiences.
Right. Okay. I think it might be brilliant, actually.
So it might actually because the vibe
I'm on board. I can't wait. That's one of my most anticipated right now.
Yeah, and this is only watching the trailer, so I know sometimes you just need to see the movie for yourself.
Right.
But the vibe I was getting from it was these guys are trying hard to make a bad movie, whereas the original Toxic
but with
Avenger,
a budget. With a budget.
Right.
Which can be funny because you're like, wait a second. The reason why it was bad is because they had no budget, right? I mean, not bad, but great. It was because they had no budget, right?
Yeah, right. My favorite bad movies are the ones where they take it super serious and everything else in it is inept. Case in point, the new War of the Worlds with Ice Cube. is one of the unintentionally funniest movies ever made.
Wait, when did that come out?
It just dropped it on Prime last week.
Oh, it's actually out? I thought it was just a trailer.
Oh boy. Yeah, it is. Wow. It is unintentionally one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time.
All right.
So if you're looking for that kind of vibe, give it a shot.
That movie made me angry though. The original one, because like the one thing that kills the aliens is like that bacteria. You know, like your alien. How long you been on the planet? Like 100 years. You know, you don't know that bacteria can kill you. Same thing with the Mel Gibson, like Signs. You know, the aliens come to Earth, and the one thing that can kill the aliens is water. Like the planet is made of like 75% water. You don't do your research. Where's Spock?
Like, you know what's funny? I've only been on this show for an hour and 30 minutes, hour and 31, whatever, and like we have Keith, Johnny, Dean, and I have talked over each other. But anytime Harry talks, everybody stops talking. It's like he carries so much weight.
His aura. It's just the Harry aura. He carries it. Yeah. He commands presence.
I guess.
Just to circle back around on Toxic Avenger, and then I want to actually ask a little bit more on Chestface. On Toxic Avenger, the thing that hooked me in the trailer is that the villains in that trailer looked like comic book villains. So that kind of intrigued me a little bit, you know. And to take a step further on Chestface, I have to ask if some of it felt like it could have been a personal story.
Okay.
Can you divulge a little bit of that, please?
I think, you know, if you can afford to, I think some of the best comics that are made are the ones where you put a little bit of yourself into it in some way or another, right? Yep. So that it resonates and it makes something. So in a weird way, I'm selling Chestface and this ridiculous looking guy who wants to be a comedian or whatever, or want to be, you know, a rookie comedian but like, it's about the women. It's about Meridian Prime and her daughter. It's about Chestface's mom, because the last third of the story is him trying to do, you know, he has taped his 1 hour special and he talks about it. I mean, the thing that some people have realized this, but for a comedian, in a comic book that's 24 pages long, not one joke is told. He doesn't tell any joke. He talks about his sense of humor, but you never hear him actually deliver a joke, you know? So, and that's kind of the joke in a way. And it's funny and absurd looking and bananas, right? So I realized that, in fact, do I have it here? I started coming up with the cover idea for the sequel because I realized that, if I want to do more, I've kind of talked about his mom, and I've tried to figure out how to bring back Meridian Prime possibly. But I thought, well, maybe now he's talked about his father. Maybe it involves a father figure or something, like get the other side of the parents. But let me see if I can find.
I also like how he wears no clothes, yet nobody notices because he's a chest face.
He's just like a walking callus.
Right. Like, oh wait, he has no pants.
You know what I would like?
He gives off like Thing vibes and like Marv from Sin City.
Yeah,
where, like, you can't tell the texture of his skin because he just looks like a Brillo pad.
I want Dean to
or he looks like a naked, you know, that on the Looney Tunes, that hairy monster.
Gossamer.
Gossamer.
With no hair, like a hairless.
Yeah, somebody shaved Gossamer.
I want Dean to go back to Chroma. Dean, since you're so tight with Lloyd Kaufman, why don't you get like him to like sculpt a chest face for like a cover, like, you know, like a photo cover.
A photo, you know what?
That'd be awesome.
Somebody did sculpt the chest, because I ran in my Kickstarter. There was a lot of I had people ask people to draw chest face, and I think one of them was a sculpture, a little bit of a sculpture of chest face.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and speaking of comedy, Chris Mackar, who's goes by Big Business online, Vito and I did a chest face show, basically, where Chris did write his versions of chest face humor. So there is, and that's on one of our episodes.
So wait, there's a comedian that actually
that posited what chest face humor would be, and then performed it with a little chest face cutout that had moving eyes and mouth.
Oh, awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I want to say it's episode 19 or something like that. It's one of our.
Okay.
It features Nat Towson. So I think that might be, if you're looking for it. And he's a comedian as well.
Awesome.
So we did.
Dean, have you ever done stand-up comedy? Or...
No.
Oh, okay. Have you done it, Vito? Oh, wow. Okay. I did it for a little while too.
I had a really good joke about how are my kids around? I don't want them to hear this. I had a really good joke about how like I had just gotten married, and that like I asked my wife to always call me when she goes out grocery shopping, to call me when she gets to the frozen food section, because I know that's the end of the grocery store, and I have that much time to finish jerking off.
That's great.
Yeah, that one killed. Believe it or not.
That's great.
So I'm gonna show you a sneak peek of what I intend my cover to be for the next chest.
Oh, we got exclusive. Keith, can you make him big?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it literally is just a thumbnail sketch. But tell me if you see what I see. Hold on, let me make sure it's the right one. Do you see what I see?
What I see.
Oh, so
yeah,
head? So
he's contemplating part of what I want to do with this story, and I'm still working it out, is that he's missing his head because it was taken away from him, and he starts to have a dialogue with himself in the mirror, that kind of the existential crisis type thing.
Yeah.
I also wanted to do interstitials where, you know how was it Seinfeld, it always started with him like telling a couple of jokes on stage?
Yeah.
I might do a thing where every 5 pages, like a chapter break, is him actually doing humor in a club. Okay. Just like, maybe outside the story, or maybe it's part of the story, or maybe that's where he's talking about his dad, or maybe it's a story about him. I don't know yet. The only problem with dad stories is that every superhero comic, every DC superhero comic is about dads.
Yeah, right.
What Vito? There you go.
Stray. You might have heard of
Stray. I was going to say Stray. Dean, if I could pitch an idea, you know how like in True Romance, Clarence sees like Elvis, and he was it a preacher? He sees John Wayne.
Right.
Dylan Dog. He sees Groucho. Like I don't know. Maybe like have him see.
It would be Patrice O'Neill.
Patrice O'Neill, yes, or just Patrice O'Neill's floating head.
Right. And I picked a dead comedian because then he could meet and actually have met Doug Stanhope. He's a guy that I love.
Worcester, Massachusetts. Doug Stanhope, right? Isn't he?
Is he Massachusetts? I thought he was in Biloxi.
Oh, maybe not.
Arizona, whatever. Where I forget where he lives. But Doug Stanhope is probably my favorite comedian living today. I mean, I love a lot of comedians, of course, but if it was a dead comedian, and I know I should be saying George Carlin or Richard Pryor or whatever. I was
thinking like Lenny Bruce or something.
Or Lenny Bruce, but honestly, Patrice O'Neill, unbelievable.
Perfect. Yeah, so good.
When I was doing stand-up,
Boston's best Lenny Patrice O'Neill.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just saying, when I was doing comedy, my best joke was, because I like to do like self-deprecating humor. So like a lot of my jokes were about being fat, and I do a bit where I had like like when you're trying to lose weight, you have to do the food journal where you have to record all your calories and all this stuff. And I would just tell people about that, but I would have jokes in my journals. Like I would be like, oh, here's my journal. And my best joke was, I went to Weight Watchers and tried their point system, and I got the high score. They also lost a toe to diabetes. That one would always kill.
Jeez.
So just to confirm, Doug Stanhope is from Worcester, Mass.
Oh, he's from there. Okay.
Yeah, he's from Worcester. Yeah. He might be in he might be in Biloxi now, but because I remember we have this really cool rock diner called Ralph's. And you see rock shows there, and he used to do stand-up sets there. So
what a terrible name for a diner, Ralph's.
Ralph's Diner.
Ralph's. You have to say it. Ralph's. So wait, let's all do a joke. I can tell you a joke. Did everybody have a joke to tell?
I already did.
Yeah,
I have my standard
one. Your career? No, sorry. Hey-o.
Like a street joke or just any kind of joke? Or?
Well, I could tell you whatever kind of joke you want to tell, but Bob Fingerman, another cartoonist, and he's a great pal of mine, told me a joke. Let me see if I can get it right. What did the snail say while riding the back of the turtle?
No idea.
Slow down.
You ready?
Yeah.
It is.
All right.
If you know Bob,
the cutest joke ever.
That delivery is everything.
Yeah, right. It's the delivery. But I know some vile jokes, but if my mom's watching, there's no way. Although she probably told me the jokes. But anyway, so.
I've got a wholesome one that my old Italian uncle told me. If we want to, if we're doing joke, sharing jokes. So there's a guy who's up in a tree, right? Wouldn't come down. They got his wife. He won't come down from the tree. They got the police department. He won't come down from the tree. They get the fire department. He won't come down from the tree. They go over and they get the priest. Priest goes over the tree. He goes like this. Makes the sign of the cross, right? Guy comes down from the tree. They go, what the hell did he do? What do you say to the guy? Priest comes back and they go, well, what'd you say to the guy to get him down? He goes, well, I said, if you don't come down, I'm going to cut the tree.
Hey, yo. Are you a dad?
No.
Is that a dad joke? Almost?
Like I said, I heard it from my old Italian uncle.
If you don't come down, I'm going to cut the tree in half.
If you don't come down, we're going to cut the tree.
I love it.
Oh, that's great. But Dean, I wanted to ask you too. I was kind of fascinated about your playwright stuff. Like, have you had any plays like actually been produced in like Broadway or anything like that?
Not Broadway, way off Broadway. Off Broadway. More like black box theater. Although, if you've ever heard of Gene Frankel, the last play was at the Gene Frankel Theater. And honestly, I've written these things, but there's no way I could have produced and directed these things. That was people like Ian W. Hill, Phil Cruz, and then, with actors like Seth Gilliam, from The Walking Dead, who I went to SUNY Purchase, college with, and a whole slew. It's a whole crew that makes these things. I get to write these things, and then other people make them, and it's awesome, and it's usually more like a black box theater type situation, like 60 to 75 seat type, theaters. I've had 4 produced plays, and I've written a new one that is now sitting to the side that I was considering directing myself because I'd like to try that once,
Okay.
And I also started writing another play that I'm not so sure yet. Also, when I write a play, I also do think about how could this be a graphic novel? How could it be a movie maybe? So I try to write to the virtue of the medium, So the play is a play, and I'd have to alter it somewhat to be a graphic novel or to be a movie or whatever. And I also write lots of short kind of movies and one acts and whatnot. I don't know why I do this. It's because I love comics, but I like story making, and I love these mediums. I like going to theater, and we've just had half of our discussion has been about movies and television,
Mm-hmm.
So I like to do that, and also it's not, I'm more of a writer these days than I am an artist. I like writing, like I know we were just talking about Chest Face, but and I think I did a good enough job drawing it, but I like the writing better than the art.
I was going to say, and what you're saying about like short form, you could really, it shows in Billy Dogma, where you have all these it's the same through
like
line,
vignettes,
but they're vignettes, exactly, and I love it. It's like you play with different things. Like there's some hard boiled dialogue, there's some stuff that just like straight up Looney Tunes. He's missing his heart. It's in the shape of a heart. So I love the way you play with little things in each vignette, but it all comes together and all feels like one piece, even though they're these small kind of different chapters.
Right. And it's not easy. Like I realize that I create characters, personal characters. Like, the Red Hook is probably my longest running creator-owned character, right? Like I produced over maybe 800 pages worth of comics, with the Red Hook. But when I think of Fantastic Four or Batman or Spider-Man or whatever, or the Hulk, I can see how it's actually a really simple idea that you can exploit. And my mistake is that I have traditionally come up with a complicated idea that's hard to think of a lot of stories for, because they're such concept ideas, And then when I came with chest face, it really was like nothing's ever been called chest face. And what if a guy had his face put on his chest and he was kind of like Gossamer meets the Thing or something, like
yeah, right.
And I came up with a simple idea, and that's why it kind of works. In or COVID Cop is something else.
Yeah, I love the design of that character.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
great.
and I'm thinking spoiler. I'm thinking about that might be my next Kickstarter is the sequel to COVID Cop.
Oh, nice.
Because I still need to think about chest face and what I want to do with that, and I need to have collections out there. I
like that shadowy drawing of chest face with a head because it kind of reminds me of like the Star Wars Anakin and
totally.
Vader, like
totally little kid becoming or Peter Parker and Spider-Man's shadow. I think that was Amazing Fantasy number 15, the splash page. The very first Spider-Man story. So it's a classic kind of like iconic image. And everyone understands it. One, the dichotomy between the two,
Right, yep.
So. I'm with you, Dean, too. Like I can draw and stuff. I'm a cartoonist, but like as I grew older, like I wanted to just write more and do less art. It's weird. Like
what would you call yourselves? Like storytellers, like Keith and Dean? Like what were your titles?
Creatives. That's
creatives,
all. We're all creatives.
I mean, I call myself a cartoonist, but me and Vito have also called ourselves story makers. That's what we're doing. Because I think more about the panel that's after the one I'm drawing, whereas a lot of other artists, I think, think about what's in front of them. I'm always trying to think about the next panel. It's almost like playing pool. You're not playing for the shot ahead of you. You're trying to play for the next shot. And because I think in terms of sequential narrative constantly, that's how I know I'm more of a writer, because, in comics, drawing is writing. It really is. And then there are people who are fantastic cover artists, and they can figure out, a single image, like a painting on a museum wall. I don't think like that. I always think about
my wife's like that.
How's this image going to serve the next one? So what does your wife do?
Yeah, my wife is more like that, where she does like a single image,
right?
And she has trouble with sequentials. Like she needs to be guided.
Well, my girlfriend Jen's a painter, and she's probably listening to this right now, painting, and she thinks in single image, or at least a series of stuff, right? Where maybe there's one painting is complementing the other. But I literally, and Vito or anybody who makes comics, you are thinking about the next panel, or to be continued. I mean, it's kind of amazing when you can come to the end,
Now, do you like when you're thinking about that, like you're thinking about the next panel, do you think like when you sit down and do the story, do you do it traditionally, like with an outline and then figure out the beats, or no?
He writes full scripts.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Hold on, let me see if I can bring something on.
Well, he's pulling it up. Vito, how about yourself? When you like have the idea and it first sparks.
So there's a full script.
Okay.
Then I thumbnail, like you see, it's a little, and these are, I don't know, you can see.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Just quick little thumbnails.
Very cool.
Right. And then I pencil, which is what I'm doing on this page right now, on big board, like, oops, I don't know if you can even see that.
It's there
a little bit, yeah. I can see.
And then, hold on a second. Just, inking a page, and this is like a story I'm working on right now.
Oh, awesome!
And then I'll scan that in, letter it, do color or gray tones or whatever.
I have no legs. Isn't that the guy who kids?
Yeah, but yeah. Spoiler: one of the guys doesn't have any legs. Anyway.
Vito, I like how
the kids that we've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
I was going to ask Vito. I saw that music is very I don't know how important it is, but it's very. You use it to write, and different kinds of music inspires you different ways. Like you said, I think I saw you say Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, like that kind of.
I mean, it can be anything. I typically when I letter, I like to listen to like Sade or Maxwell, like more R&B soul music.
Yeah.
When I'm writing, I'll start making playlists for different. If you pay attention enough, like in the very first Stray trade paperback, the title of each chapter is either a title of a Jane's Addiction song or a lyric from a Jane's Addiction song, because the name Stray was suggested to me because it was originally called the Rottweiler. And then the name Stray was suggested to me while literally I was listening to the Jane's Addiction album Strays. So I used Jane's Addiction.
Okay.
The Soundgarden is probably my favorite band, which
oh, nice.
I have a vinyl here.
Oh, cool.
That I got for Record Store Day this year. So the very last, and yes, it is plotted because like Dean likes to make fun of me, I plot everything. But the very last Stray story is plotted, and Sean Isaacs, who was the original artist and is now over at DC doing Challengers of the Unknown, Sean Isaacs is probably going to come back and do that one with me. And every title is a Soundgarden title. So like
nice.
I use a lot of that to kind of, and then I'll make a playlist of those songs, and then like, I'll write to those songs. So yeah.
Music. Do you ever suggest like a playlist for the reader? I know some writers do
I plan on doing that at some point. I know that Matt Major and I are doing a book called we're doing a couple of one shots, and the first one is called The Eyes of Odin. Odin stands for Office of Diplomacy and International Negotiation, but it's really just a superhero team that looks like G-Force. Gotcha Man.
That's awesome.
So the entire like 22 pages, so I'll do 22 or 24 songs, and it's all Muse, the band Muse.
Oh,
so
cool.
So I'll probably put that up at some point, when the Spotify playlist, and then we're doing another one called Underboss, which I really can't wait to get to. And there's a playlist for Underboss, like that he and I share back and forth.
Oh yeah, I saw that you were saying that you have a playlist for all your everything you write, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, the songs remind you of past things you've written, or that would work opposite?
Not necessarily, but like the thing about music is that because it evokes so much, it can put me immediately in the mood for what I'm trying to say. Like with Soundgarden, like the very last Stray story is a very personal story where it's based on a dream I had about my dad after he died. So it's it's dark, but there's a kind of like the Soundgarden song Rusty Cage is the song that, like, if I were to make a Stray movie, that would have to be in the movie somewhere, because it's about breaking out of your rusty cage, breaking out of whatever is holding you back and holding you down. And I think that's probably the most Stray song, and it's even on that album that I just showed. So it's probably the most Stray song that I can think of that's not an original or anything.
I love that music, and more specifically Soundgarden's been such an influence on you, Vito. I've always had the aspiration to do an anthology, and I guess just the whole undertaking of kind of curating an anthology is a little bit intimidating to me. But if I ever do one, I want to do one that is a collection of short comics that are inspired by Faith No More songs. By creators who love Faith No More. And I have a few ones thought out, like Strip Search would be straightforward, almost like remake of the music video.
Oh my God, please call me. I love Faith No More.
I was going to say Mike Wellman. I don't know if you know Mike, but he's already claimed Zombie Eaters if I ever do it. And Mike actually did the unofficial biography of the Faith No More comic book. Yeah.
Cool. I was actually talking to a couple of publishers about trying to do a Soundgarden, graphic novel, and my collaborator,
like a bio,
what's that?
Like
no,
graphic novel, or
like based on their music.
Okay.
So like every page is a different song, just like I did with Eyes of Odin and Underboss. And the thing, like I did this with a 9 Inch Nails story for a 9 Inch Nails anthology that we actually ended up not putting it out or not giving it to, because it was anyway, that's a long story. But so I did a Prince one called Tribute, which let's see if I have it over here.
That's cool. Well, so licensing, and I'm worried about getting a cease and desist after putting a lot of work into a project. So that's kind of one of the things that's kind of held me back. But
there you go.
That's
cool. Hang on.
Look at that.
So this one was done by Vasco Georgiev.
Put it back up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He's currently the Flash artist. I have a finding guys.
Wow.
But we did that, and it's every page is a different Prince song. And Dean, you remember that
Yep.
book, right?
Yep.
So I was trying to do a Soundgarden one next, and the problem with doing Soundgarden is the guys in the band. That's unofficial, but funny enough, I got I sent a letter to Prince's estate to do this one, and they're like, "We have no interest, but good luck." Basically, so and Prince, there's no likeness of Prince in it, it's close enough, but I do too. Dr. Mask
is a good version.
But with Soundgarden, I had an artist that we were working on something similar, and his name is Vince Kakua, but unfortunately he passed away. So my goal is to make this for him because he never got to see it. But yeah, I have a Soundgarden one already plotted out, already ready. I just
amazing.
Need a publisher and need an artist. But yeah, I love music.
You said that movies also have an effect on you. Like you have to have a movie in the background that won't distract you, like The Things You Do or whatever. I've never seen that movie.
You do. I can.
You know every word that's the movie you said, right?
That Thing You Do. Animal House. There's a couple of them that I don't need to watch to have the movie playing in my head. But That Thing You Do, because of the music, and because it's very similar to Hamilton, the musical Hamilton. Okay. Once you listen to it, like it just becomes like a soundtrack that just plays in your head that makes the movie happen. So you don't have to think too much. But like, my goodness, Dean and I talk about movies all the time, like Heat, and
love that movie.
I mentioned The Nice Guys earlier, which is one of my recent favorites.
Are you a big Shane Black fan?
I am, actually.
Yeah,
I really am.
I'm excited. Did you see he's doing a Parker?
I did not see that, and I am now going to try to get my goosebumps to go down because that's
like he's going to be doing. But the only thing that's weird is Mark Wahlberg is playing Parker.
Oh, so he won't curse. Great.
Yeah, right.
He'll go to church.
We'll see how that goes. Right? I don't remember which novel it is that he's doing, but he's doing one of the.
I trust it'll be good.
Me too.
I loved his take on Predator.
Yeah,
me too. That was the last Predator movie I enjoyed.
Yeah,
and like
you didn't like Prey?
It was all right. I just feel like that whole franchise has been kind of played out, just like the Terminator.
Prey was amazing though.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Badlands, and Prey was so dope. I loved it.
No, I still
Me and Vito are in that same boat. I think it's just you and I, Vito.
Yep.
No, I'm into it. I'm into it too. The thing I liked about the Shane Black take was that you had this superior kind of, I guess, Predator come down, and it's trained to fight the best, and it doesn't know how to fight people on the spectrum.
Right. Yeah.
And so you had all these kind of misfits, let's call them, or whatever, or kids on the spectrum, and they kind of found a way to defeat the Predator because it wasn't focused on people that are considered less than or
right.
problematic or whatever that, not problematic. You know what I mean? Like, what a great concept,
It was the most comic booky one, it felt like. It almost like it's like he learned shit from superhero movies, making Iron Man 3 and kind of filtered that into that movie, I felt like.
Right.
I was dying for, and I think it got shelved, but he was signed up to be to do the Destroyer novels.
That's right.
I loved it. He's the perfect person for that franchise. Cool. It would have been amazing.
Yeah.
I would have loved to seen that movie, but I guess it just never happened.
So, guys, I'm going to have to wrap up soon. But
yes.
And I want to hear a couple more questions and a couple more things. But I guess the elephant in the room might be, so I love the latest Batman movie, but I guess he's not going to be the James Gunn Batman, right?
That's what I heard. Yeah, I heard like that's going to be its own thing or something.
So he's got to cast his Batman, and all I can think about is Adam West. It would just be, an Adam West type or a disco Batman. Like
okay,
not even necessarily a dark brooding one, but like maybe a sexy. I don't know, man. I might play this more like Lava Lamp Batman. Like
who would you cast? Who?
I don't know.
Harry Styles.
I don't have a.
They were talking Cavill is like being the new Batman.
I wouldn't mind that. I also saw someone say, someone said because the next one's going to have Damian, and Batman should be somewhere in his 40s ish. That John Hamm would be a good choice.
Yeah, John Hamm.
I want the Reacher guy, the guy from Reacher.
Pedro Pascal.
That's who I want.
Maybe.
Yeah, he'd be dope. He'd be good. And
Alan
he was great.
Richardson.
He was great as Hawk in Titans. I don't know if you saw that.
I actually love Damian too as a Robin. I think he's one of my favorite Robins.
So he's going to be Damian is the Robin in the James Gunn.
Yeah, it's called Brave and the Bold, and it's Damian's the Robin.
Wait, I didn't even know that. Wait, they've announced something like that the Batman movie is called Brave and the Bold.
Mm-hmm.
Where was I? Okay.
They're also doing this one's kind of interesting too. They're doing a Clayface movie.
Yeah.
By Mike Flanagan, who's the guy that did like Midnight Mass, and he does all those Netflix horror movies and Stephen King adaptions. So I'm wondering if that's going to be like a body horror movie. Like,
totally. I think that's what they're saying.
It's just what it's going to be. It just can't be a rehash of the substance, right? It's got to be like
that movie
a little bit more.
Which is kind of a rehash of Society, a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I just don't know how they didn't notice her walking to the stage at the end. At the end of the movie when she was like walking to the stage, I guess she had her old face on a piece of paper.
That was the one part that didn't make sense, Harry.
I know. How do you not notice like the eight? I know that's the one thing that got me. Like, how do you not notice
the one thing that got you? You're like, that didn't feel real. That part.
Kind of like at that point, you kind of like, I don't know.
The 11 breasts.
At that point, you let it go. You just let it go.
Yeah, it's so over the top, and like, I know
you had me until that point.
I was like, I don't believe it anymore. I'm done.
Right.
So Vito, do you want to tell these guys? Do you want to tease these guys about the bootleg?
I sent Keith the cover here a second ago.
Yes. Okay.
Keith, let's pull that up. I'm very excited.
I was going to ask you before you guys go what this is. Okay.
Oh,
are you laying exclusive on us right now?
No one has seen this outside of my co-creator Dean and
we need exclusive music.
Okay, I know we do.
Yeah, we need a stinger for exclusives.
Yeah.
Wow.
Raptorix. All right. Yeah. So I
Does
love
that look
the cover,
familiar, guys.
Yeah. I love the cover.
I like that. Yeah, it's the riff on Death in the Family, right?
That's right. So Matt Major did the cover. You could see after Mignola, who did the original. This is basically it's Stray adjacent, which is as Dean and I, when we interviewed Marty Keene on our show, I would say like very early on, maybe like episode 5 or so.
I'm having dinner with him tomorrow with Sean Crystal, by the way.
Oh, awesome. Marty is very like he got his notoriety. I wouldn't say his fame, but his notoriety from doing a Spider-Man bootleg.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about that.
And so as we were talking to him, yes.
Okay.
So as we were talking and stuff and interviewing him and stuff, I was like, what would mine be? And Dean was like, yours is definitely a Batman riff, so basically that's my Nightwing and my Batman and my Joker are all in this book. And it's not, it doesn't follow anything from the source material, or from the source material being, what that is. Yeah. But it does tie into Stray, specifically Underboss, but Underboss is Stray adjacent as well. So if you like Stray, this is going to be, I wish I could show you some of the art. The art is, Dean, you could probably, sell the art better than I could.
Well, I think, the art's very, very bootleg. I was really hoping for Vito to find, because he works with really good slick artists, right? but I was like, find somebody that's grungy and black and white and like messy,
Yeah,
and
like indie,
so
like 80s indie.
very indie to give that bootleg feel,
Keith, make it big
right here.
Yeah, hang on.
Wow.
Oh wow, yeah, I like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And basically, Vito is telling a story that DC Comics would never dare to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's put it that way, which also makes it a bootleg.
I love that.
It makes it feel like, as much as I'm sure it was somewhat orchestrated. I always love the idea of when Prince decided to pull the Black Album, and then he came out with Love Sexy, but then the Black Album fell off the truck.
Yeah, right.
All got to hear it anyway. As a Prince fan. And I've been thinking about like maybe doing a bootleg because I think that's almost like something one does these days, and I actually also advise Vito, don't do like a graphic novel, or you don't even have to do a whole issue. It could be 12 pages,
Yeah, it's going to be 20 pages total, 12 story. There's going to be like who's who write-ups for the 3 main characters, so you kind of know who they are, and then there's a tease for the next book that where it all leads into.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You're gonna have the 800 number that people can call to.
That's a great idea.
I mean, too bad the person that dies is already dead.
Okay.
Spoiler. But
yeah. And I'm trying to think. So what else? I mean, I guess I don't know if you guys have any other questions, but
Brienne,
I want to at least
let me just say, Brienne Andon is the artist. So,
yes,
fantastic artist out of the Philippines.
Oh, I guess, Dean, the only thing I want, do you have anything you want to tease or anything upcoming that you want to talk about? Or
I mean, I guess I could like that email. What is it? The email that you sent?
Yeah. If you want to send it to there, I'll go pull up.
That you sent to us.
Just for the record, my daughter just came, knocked on the door, put up a sign. Do you want mozzarella sticks? And I was like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah, the answer's always yes.
I'm like a 10-year-old. Did you ever hear somebody once describe ska music as the music that plays in the head of a 10-year-old when they're eating mozzarella sticks?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite descriptions ever.
I love that. That's factual. As a big fan of the Mighty Boss Stones, that's factual.
And I should also mention that the Raptor X will debut at Boston. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to get you said Boston's. I don't mean to get you excited. At Baltimore Comic-Con this year.
Oh, nice.
That's in October.
Vito, do you ever do any cons up in our neck of the woods?
I believe I haven't. I would like to. I've always been open to doing shows that I can drive to. Whether I want to do Terrificon next year, I want to do some stuff in Boston, I want to do stuff in Virginia, I want to go up.
Where are you again? You said you're in PA.
I'm in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to kind of keep it along the eastern seaboard, maybe fly out to California once or twice for a smaller show. But next year, like, there's a lot that's coming out, and I really want to push some stuff. I'm going to email you another cover, Keith, just because we're talking about Stray, and I don't think we've talked about Stray enough. But this one,
yes,
fair.
While you're at it, Keith, I did send you a teaser for something I can talk about. I sent you the first 2 pages of. All
right, just got it. Hang on.
Okay. So while Keith's pulling that up, do you guys want to tease where people can find you on social media?
Oh yeah. I'm going to tease that you can find me on Instagram. No, I'm kidding.
A lot of teasing going on tonight.
No, I mean Instagram and
light tickling.
Facebook, and I have a Substack, and those are the 3 basic, ways. I don't care about Twitter. I don't really do Blue Sky. I mean, I post things, but I don't engage. Like, I engage on Facebook and Instagram and Substack.
Same.
Basically.
Right on.
Same.
I always tell people you can just Google incognito instead of incognito. Turn the N upside down to V, and you can find me no matter what.
And I'm just Dean Haspiel, and then we also have our weekly podcast that we basically do, called Vito X Dino, and it really is like. In fact, we should probably talk to you guys about StreamYard. We should probably our videos look like they're underwater, and we sound like we're in caves. So
per one listener. But
yeah.
I just want to say,
no, I like, you can, even if you didn't want to be live, you could record with StreamYard.
Oh, that's
really good. And it's pretty. They have a free service too.
Yeah, we're going to look into that because also Vito, I like the idea of doing live broadcast.
Absolutely,
it'll be fun. So this is a character called AI Joe, and this is actually the second story I've done for SHP Comics, and they do a comic called Aerotech, and I did these. What you're looking at is the first 2 pages of a 5-part story that's 10 pages long, 2 pages per chapter.
Okay.
And it's a little absurd. Instead of GI Joe, it's basically kind of like an AI Captain America. The first story I did that I didn't send you artwork for is a little more erotic and sexy because it was for an erotic anthology. And so I'm having fun. I'm using a limited palette of red, white, and blue that gets you a little bit of pink and a light blue, but it's primarily a red, white, and blue comic to go with the America theme or whatever.
I love it.
And so
that's really smart.
Yeah, really.
Well, thanks, man.
I didn't even think of that. I mean, I've seen the pages. I didn't even think that of what you were doing.
I love your animated style too, Dean.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, I love that. Like, would you call it like a Bruce Timm
Sure, I'm in the world of Bruce
kind of
Timm,
style.
Darwin Cook, Kirby Ditko. Maybe I would love to feel like I was in the Marcos Martin, Javier Pulido world.
Yeah, right. No, I love it.
But it's definitely Silver Age, old school kind of. Maybe an animated look, which actually could serve me if I tried to sell the series. It's halfway there, right? So
I don't know if you've ever. I'm sure you've seen Venture Brothers. It gives it a little bit of a Venture Brothers vibe.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah.
So I knew one of the co-creators for years, and then I know JG Thorwell does all the music for the Venture Brothers. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's awesome. So so this is like a little project I did called AI Joe. That will appear. Oh, you're making me hungry, Vito.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to keep you guys too much longer, but yeah,
appreciate all the time
I like
you guys
the
have given
idea
us.
of that. So it's like GI Joe, but fighting like virtual.
Well, he's AI created, and because that's the next wave of a GI Joe would be an AI Joe. And I loosely based. I was like, well, what would he look like? And I found a Jack Kirby Captain America design that was for some anthology or a Treasury edition or something, where it was like a Western version. So I took part of his version of the top chest, and then I discovered this Australian singer who croons. He basically creates songs that are kind of like Motown from the '60s, right? But it's brand new. His name is Don West. If you were to look up Don West, he looks like the cheesiest porno actor you've ever seen. I was like, what is going on? How does this person looks like this sound like that? And it's such a conflict. And
it's like
so
the Chocolate Rain guy.
Huh?
Remember the Chocolate Rain guy?
Oh yeah.
Chocolate, he was just like this lanky kid, but he had this deep resonant voice.
Oh my god.
Well, now you're reminding me of one of my favorite scenes in Weird Science, one of my favorite movies, where Anthony Michael Hall gets drunk in a black bar and he just starts talking like these old black dudes. Hilarious, So it's kind of like that. Like the optics are very different from what comes out of this person, as it were.
Right.
And so I had fun with that character. I've started curating a comic section in a local paper here called the Red Hook
saw that
Star
on your
Review.
Substack.
Yep. And so
great.
I'm doing new Red Hook comics as a strip now, I can tease that I'm working on an anthology about New York, and Vito has a story in there.
Cool.
Very cool. And the publisher will have to announce it at some point. I hope to do a new Kickstarter. Probably, I could send you the cover to this, but I don't want to show it to anybody. But I've already done a cover for potentially a COVID Cop Kickstarter sequel,
Okay.
While I write the chest face.
Show us at Terrificon. Me and Johnny will definitely.
Oh, I'll show it to you.
And
Absolutely.
And you have the Fox 2 coming out, or is that already out?
No, I mean I have more Fox stories. Honestly, I would love to do more Fox stories, but every time I pitch, I think they're just super conservative at Archie these days about what they put out. It seems like they trickle out one shots. They don't even necessarily do series.
Everything's
anymore,
a crossover now. I noticed. They just did Archie and Jay and Silent Bob, and another one just came out.
Minor Threats.
Minor Threats.
Yeah, they do well with those, I think, you know.
They think so, and they have 1 million covers. I know that's the game now, but like,
yeah, well, they're in fact an independent publisher. Like they don't have like a Viacom or some, you know, company backing them up at all.
I tried to pitch Archie the most slam dunk miniseries ever,
okay.
and I cannot get. And I'll tell you what it is. I cannot get anyone to answer me back because I was like, me and Dean, Josie and the Pussycats versus aliens.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Come on. That's brilliant.
It's like, and it wasn't, I can't remember what the alien was going to be, but it was basically Alien, you know, with Josie and the Pussycats and picking them off one by one. And it's like, why can't anyone answer my call?
Like the actual, like the movie Alien?
I mean, that would be great, but I don't think, you know, like that would be feasible now that Marvel owns it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, but just, you know, in that same vein, you know, like an alien that's like picking them off one by one.
Marvel would do that. Right? Why wouldn't Marvel want to do that?
Probably.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they did do that, didn't they? Predator was in one of those, I think.
And I also want Dean to do a Thing sequel, the John Carpenter Thing sequel.
Oh, that'd be great too.
They
did it years ago with Dark Horse, but they only did a few of them, I think. And I don't know. I would love to see that.
I would love to do more Fox, but you know, I don't know, man. I feel like I can't beg for morsels anymore. You know, like I showed up. I've worked for all the big companies. I have a little bit of a pedigree. I never really moved the needle. I don't know if I, you know, sell seats in theaters or whatever, but I put my heart into these things. So why not just self-publish and try to figure that out? Because we have more tools than ever before to do it, you know?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Guys like you supporting us, you know, we're grateful, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when that Kickstarter is live, you should come back on and promote it.
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to say, we spent all this time kind of like kibitzing and chit-chat, and we didn't really get a chance to get into something like the meat of like, you actually got to work with Harvey Picar, right, Dean?
Oh, yeah, I want to get into
like
that
there's so much we overlooked here, and I apologize we took so much of your time, but
no,
we'd love to have you come back and maybe even talk a little bit more about that. Both you guys, Vito too. It was great meeting you, and we'd love to have you come back on.
Before we go, Keith, I sent you another one. So if you want to show
let's fire that up.
Because this one's gonna not blow the internet, but it's gonna be one to talk.
And for those who might be interested, oh yeah.
Oh, this is cool.
So this is again Matt Major, who is my go-to cover artist. Homage to Captain America No More cover.
Yeah.
It's a story called Stray, the Beast Within. And the best way to tell you what this story is about is always punch Nazis.
I love that. Yes.
And
I think the
what you'll
design
see in the story
is awesome too.
What's that?
I meant to tell you earlier that I love the design of Stray.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That's all Sean Isaacs.
Yeah, so good.
But the basically Stray is a legacy character. His father was the Doberman. His grandfather was the first Doberman in World War II. His grandmother is the Scarlet Orchid, who you'll find out more about when Golden Guard comes out. So his family has a history of fighting Nazis. So we're going to actually show that in this story.
That's really cool.
So cool.
And so I got to read a little bit of Stray, and and I apologize, we didn't get too deep into the details on it, but just from my perspective in reading it, like it just had so many flavors of like Batman and Watchmen and
Wildcat.
Wildcat, and you could clearly see the Wildcat influence there.
Yeah, Nightwing, awesome. Daredevil,
all of that. And I love that you played with a lot of themes that I think resonated with me as a kid who grew up in the 90s with drug addiction, redemption, things of that nature. And I thought
redemption is probably my biggest go-to theme. Like I always go to redemption.
I like the way you described it. Actually, it's you described it as a DC characters in a Marvel universe.
Yeah,
that's kind of what you called it.
That's great. Great description.
I mean,
awesome. Well, we don't want to take up any more of your time, guys. So like we'll start to wrap this up. And then if you want to just shout out again where people can find you, I recommend definitely check out Dean's Substack. It's a good newsletter. I enjoy it. You'll have to, next time you come on, I want you, because I read that, I was telling Johnny about this after I read your Substack. You have to tell the Gigi Allen story. That that thing is crazy.
Yeah, man. I almost did that for this comic anthology I'm working on. I almost did that as a New York story, but
yeah, you got to tell that story next time you come on. It was freaking.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you that story. It's funny. You just said that how Stray is a DC character in a Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that was Vito. Yeah, that was your description.
I was trying to think about like just what my sensibility is, and I feel like I'd create Charlton characters like in an Archie universe or something. Like even when I draw sex, it's safe and cute.
Like I would describe your comics. I get the feeling of like when I read them, I get the feeling of like that whole Cleveland kind of scene, like the. Like the Harvey Pekar kind of comic. Sure. That's the feeling I get from your work, which I love.
Thanks,
I love that.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. I never thought about that. I mean,
I always describe Dean as
Brooklyn. Sorry.
I was just saying, I always describe Dean as a beatnik with a pencil, because like his dialogue has like a certain kind of not rhyme to it, but like a patter that's very beat poet. And like I know inside of him is like a beat poet, like a Kerouac.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a Kerouac influence there?
Yeah, I mean, when you reread his stuff after I just told you that, and you'll totally see it.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's funny because I didn't read a lot of Kerouac, but I feel like I definitely, I always feel like, I picked up on like Stan Lee and Shakespeare. Oh, thanks, Cyclone Comics.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
And then I became a big fan of Joe R. Lansdale, and I like Mickey Spillane.
Oh, I love Joe R. Lansdale.
And Frank Miller. Even when he did Sin City, there was a certain kind of dialogue.
Dude, Happen Leonard, so good.
Oh, my Happen Leonard is my favorite series.
Oh, so good. And awesome. I loved his Jonah Hex Vertigo stuff. It was fantastic.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if I ever read that. I know I don't think you can get those comics because I think they got sued, right?
Did they?
Didn't they do an analog character of the Winter Brothers or something? Some kind of I forget. You have to look it up, but yeah.
Like Edgar and Johnny Winters, I believe.
Yeah, didn't something happen with that?
I can't remember what the exact
Tim Truman, I think, drew it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim Truman did them. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about like characters that I love like Grimjack, like I love all those first comics characters and
like that late
Charlton,
80s. Like the X Mutants and the Elementals. I love
totally, man. Shit. Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, as much as I grew up loving and I still love Marvel and DC characters, there's something undeniable about those, like, left of center,
This will always be my go-to.
Nightwing.
Always my go-to.
Yeah. Classic Nightwing.
Yeah,
I love it. And on that note, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yeah.
Thank you both for coming on and staying way too long.
Thanks, guys.
No, not way too long. Not long enough. We take our whole evening away.
We scratched the surface.
Yeah,
Dean, we'll definitely pop over at some point at Terrificon.
No, it'd be great to see you guys, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, we see you at a convention soon up our way. Or
you'll find me.
Awesome.
Like I said, 2026, my plan is to do a lot more East Coast shows. So hopefully, we'll run into each other or something.
Nice.
And then same invitation. If you got a Kickstarter or anything you want to come on and promote, definitely just shoot me an email and we'll.
That Beast Within story is probably going to be at the end of the year, like a Kickstarter for the end of the year. Just a one shot, but it's definitely something that I'm gonna probably promote heavily in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely shed some light on it for you.
And I was going to say, I was just going to quickly shout out for those of you going to Terrificon, I'm going to have the full cafe booth from Surrounded by Death. So I bring to life my cafe from my comic book to life on the Terrificon floor. So you can come down, get a cup of coffee, pick up a copy of the book. Looking forward to seeing everybody out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And shout out to Johnny for wearing an Eddie Kingston King of New York shirt.
Yeah, hells yeah. This is my dude. I can't wait for the Mad King to come back.
Yeah.
Please, just let it happen.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for checking it out. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll be live again next Monday after Terrificon. So we'll probably have a wrap-up report. All right. Well, have a great night, everybody. And we'll talk to you later.
Hey, wait. Harry. Good night, Harry.
What?
Good night, Harry.
Oh, good night. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good night, everybody. Nice meeting you guys.